45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
3 seconds left to go in Denver. There's the horn. Denver wins Game 1, Round 1. They take care of the LA Lakers. Final tonight, 114 to 103.
Thank you to the Altitude Sports Network. Now, this one was from Saturday night, but we got to talk about it. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This was a Lakers team, Perloff, that gave the Nuggets a really good fight in this game and still came up wildly short.
Wow, it's funny. I feel like I've heard that story before. Isn't that every Lakers-Nuggets game going back for 2 years? Yeah, I mean, they just do not – they don't have the legs. They don't have the horse. I don't know what it is. They do not have enough to finish the Nuggets in any game.
Right. So what we know, and after we saw Game 1, which is one you really thought that the Lakers were going to have to steal, they end up losing. They go down 0-1. We'll get Game 2 tonight. Here's where we're going to be early to the conversation. So never let anyone tell you that Maggie and Perloff didn't call something before it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And here's what's going to happen. LeBron James is looking at how they're playing against the Nuggets, how the Lakers are really have one of their best teams that he's played on, mm-hmm. and how short and woefully short they're coming up against Denver. Guys, if you don't think LeBron is planning an exit out of LA, you have not been paying attention to the last 20 years of his career. He can opt out after this year. He's already been in the LA longer than Miami, longer than the second stint in Cleveland. And when he left the Miami Heat, it was because they lost to the San Antonio Spurs 4-1 in the finals. When he left Cleveland the second time, it was because they lost 0-4 to Golden State, again, in the finals. He's not even sniffing the finals now. To think that he's just going to sit there and let this happen while he's still extending his prime, like the later parts of his prime, you're just not paying attention to LeBron if you don't see how he's calculating a way out of LA.
Okay, but where's he going to go? Any move will make him look bad. If he tries it, he has two options. Either go to a contender that's right on the brink of a title and be a bus rider on that.
Sure.
Or just go out in the second round in some other team. What's the difference? If you're not going to win a title, why not just stay in LA, pray and hope that they get some other star this offseason? Because I think going to another team could really kind of hurt his legacy. Because he'll look like a follower, much like it'll kind of kill him in the Jordan. Say he went to Boston or Denver, which is probably the only places where he's guaranteed a title. Won't that be terrible for him?
Well, I don't know if he could go to Boston or Denver. I don't know if it would be like that. I could see him going to Dallas. I could see him going to Golden State. Now, I don't know if it's going to work, but I think he will do whatever he can to try to get closer. He's not close right now with LA. And as far as like the legacy taking a hit, I think LeBron's already moved past all that stuff, right? He got so wildly unpopular after the decision, brought some people back after he won the title in Cleveland. Then he goes to LA, wins a bubble title. You know, it's in front of no fans. Yeah. It's a little bit of one of those weird things. We're used to him switching teams. Cleveland, Miami, back to Cleveland, LA. To me, I don't think that's going to stick with him. People know that he's either you think he's the best or the second best player of all time. He's got every accolade in the book. He's got almost every record in the book. At this point, I don't think changing teams does much for him. I don't think the bus rider thing applies to him.
I do. I think that bus rider thing, I mean, they're still killing KD for it. They're still secretly killing LeBron for it from 12 years ago. If he did it again, because if he goes to Dallas or Golden State, he easily might not get out of the first round in either of those teams. That is not a ready-made anything.
Well, that's the same as what's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's my point. Like, if he wants to go to win something. I'm not sure you go to like a guard-laden team with ball-dominant point guards. I think he should, if he really wants to win, he has to find a young star to team up with. And I think that'll look like, oh my gosh, I'm just here to try and chase another ring. It'll feel like Gary Payton and Karl Malone with the Lakers if he goes to a real championship team, because he's not good enough to carry a team that's sort of, basically, you saw it on Saturday night. Like, he's great in the first quarter. He has no legs to go 4 quarters.
Yeah.
So he can't go to a medium team. He's got to go to something like where he is probably the third or fourth option.
Okay, but I don't think he's going to get killed for that. I think that people are going to look at him and say, wow, savvy LeBron didn't just sit on his heels in L.A., went to go find another thing.
Oh, my God.
And to attach himself to a young star, that's smart. I mean, that's basically what he did with Anthony Davis. Now, it didn't end up kind of working that way, but I think that was the thought process was, hey, I got Anthony Davis. He's not happy in New Orleans. We can pluck him out of there, get him to L.A., and this is how I'm going to finish the rest of my career, sort of on the back a little bit of Anthony Davis. So I think he already conceded that if I'm going to win more titles, I might not be able to be the best player on a championship team right now.
Wait. But just to take a step back, you don't think LeBron would get killed for this move?
I really don't.
Oh, come on.
I really don't.
LeBron will get killed for any move. He's LeBron.
Okay.
Anything he does, but that particularly, say he's like, I want to go to OKC or Minnesota, people would destroy him for him and be like, oh, you are ridiculous.
See, I think people have already made up their mind. We're talking about LeBron James. They lose to the Nuggets on Saturday night, and I think he's plotting his exit out of LA because they can't get close to the Nuggets, and this is just going to be a when, not if situation that they're going to lose this series. I think that especially if he went to a smaller market, if he went to OKC or Minnesota, I think he'd be lauded. Like, wow, look how much he really wants to win a title. He left LA, left Bronny, left everybody, and decided to go to the.
He'd be lauded
to the
for
one
going
thing that matters, which is winning. Kevin Durant left OKC. He never wanted to go to a small market again.
You think in this country of America, everyone would say, LeBron James, you are such a good dude for going to Oklahoma City, the number 1 seed, in the West, or Minnesota with 2 young superstars.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's really how things work with LeBron. I think that is lauded. I mean, it's the exact opposite. It would be, you'd have to put yellow crime tape around Twitter for a month. These people would kill him so badly.
No, I don't think so. I think honestly, if he went to OKC or Minnesota, I think people had more respect than if he went to Denver or if he went to Boston.
Yeah,
at least you're going to an up and coming team, not a team that's already has major expectations.
I think it'd be sad if he went to Oklahoma City. Like, it's just like.
Why?
It just feels like such a ring-chasing move. Like, he's got to be sensitive to that. He's got to be sensitive.
But the Lakers was a ring-chasing move.
Ring-chasing's not good, Maggie. I think that, obviously, I'll do the Jordan thing. Like, Jordan did the opposite. He went to Washington, where the universe will never allow a ring to come back there. It was the opposite of a ring-chasing move. I just do not see this happening at all. I think he's honestly more likely to try and bring... I mean, it's not going to be great. He'll probably try to bring a star to the Lakers. Everyone's talking about Trae Young.
Yep.
I think that's a more likely scenario because I just don't think yes, I'll bet you he wants to go. I guarantee that. But I think he is, like me, worried about his reputation. Like, he cannot go to a ready-made champion and win one at 40 playing 17 minutes a game or something. Well, I know he won't play more than that. But he's getting old, too. Like, there's a realistic issue here that... Can he win another one? Like, will he help the Oklahoma City Thunder? Will he help the T-Wolves?
Okay, see, that's the other part where I think this could work here. And I'm not sure it's OKC or Minnesota. I think it could be Dallas. I think it could be Golden State. I just think that LeBron is looking at his options here. And if you don't think so, then again, you're just not paying attention to his career. Why would he stop doing what he's done for 20 years, which is always trying to find and plot out. I'm not saying it's like a negative, but just trying to navigate where the next title opportunity is. And again, I think that people have made up their mind already about LeBron. Yeah. Like, Pete doesn't like him. And it will be really hard to ever change Pete Pilotti's mind. Right. So LeBron can't be worried about getting Pete back. He's never going to get Pete back.
Right.
So he might as well do the thing, which is try to find a place that actually has a lot more, quite frankly, upside right now than LA. And I like the Lakers team. This is not an indictment necessarily, but I watched them play against the Nuggets. I'm like, man, they are really playing well through 3 quarters, maybe 3.5. They're really throwing haymakers, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, but did you see after the first quarter, what was LeBron? I mean, did he do anything? Not much. Obviously, you can't have D'Angelo Russell play like that. That's a problem. I guess getting back to what you're saying, like, that is ridiculous to say that LeBron can't hurt his legacy with this final move.
No.
Jordan kind of a little bit hurt the legacy by missing dunks in the Wizards, getting crossed over by Iverson. Like, that wasn't good. LeBron, he's got
the
this
playoffs.
He's got this podcast with JJ Redick. Do you think he wants, he's talking about how he's his basketball genius. Do you think he wants to just go on to the best possible team and win another ring? Like, it kind of just like, he would sound ridiculous on this podcast.
So who cares about the podcast?
He's got to bring, first of all, I would just focus on Bronny and bring another star to LA and just keep it in-house and try to hope somebody gets hurt on the Nuggets, because that's the only
That's
team
not a
that
strategy. This is LeBron we're talking about. If he was just waiting around for people to get hurt, he still would have spent an entire career in Cleveland, and who knows if he ever even wins a ring.
So go to Denver then. I mean, going to Golden State, that's a terrible idea, because it's like, wait a second, we're not as talented as as the Nuggets, so why don't I go to a much less talented team with no front court players that can handle this at all?
Well, I'm wondering because he's going to try. I think he would try to attach himself to a younger star. Like, I think Luka could be the guy. We know that he loves Kyrie. I don't know what Kyrie's situation is going to be after this year. He wants to play with Kyrie again. They've already said that. And I'm wondering if maybe they get Draymond to come on over. Like, I think there's maneuvering that is going to happen here.
Does that team even make the playoffs? I mean, that is an awful combination of players. LeBron's going to sit there and watch Luka dribble for 48 minutes and be like, wow, this is exciting stuff.
Listen, I think that he's plotting, and I think you guys are all crazy if you think he's not. Because, again, what have we seen from him? Like, you don't think LeBron's got one more move up his sleeve? No way. Not with him playing this well. Like, I know it didn't go great in game one, but he still is playing extremely high level. He still thinks he can win a ring. He still thinks he can be a valuable member of a contributing team. And I don't think he cares what anyone thinks at this point. I really don't. The legacy, how many things could he point to where his legacy is set in stone? And again, he's never getting back the people who abandoned him after the decision. So who cares about that? Who cares what other people think?
Because it's embarrassing. I mean, it just... to be a quote-unquote ring chaser when you're one of the top two players of all time, it's just not a good look.
But what's more embarrassing? Michael Jordan came back to two totally non-memorable seasons with Washington, and now has done everything in his power to try to scrub those two seasons from the history of the NBA.
What's more embarrassing, LeBron ring chasing at a place where it's a ready-made champion next year, where he only has to do a little bit. That would be embarrassing.
Oh, wow. I disagree on that. This is another way you kind of know that LeBron might be looking for the exits here. Let's hear from LeBron, because he was talking after game one against the Nuggets that championship teams, what they need is to pay attention to details.
Well, I've never played on a championship team that didn't pay attention to detail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to.
Yeah, and I think kind of implying this team's not. And this team's not paying attention to detail, which is one of the reasons why they lost in this game. And so I think he's kind of doing that thing that LeBron does. It's like the breadcrumbs kind of are there. He's checking out, surveying the landscape of the league. Sometimes he's done this to a T, and sometimes he's not done it, right? To a T is when he left Miami to go to Cleveland. That Cleveland team that had just taken Anthony Bennett with the number one overall pick, had another number one overall pick in back-to-back years, traded away Wiggins for Kevin Love, and he read that perfectly, right? To team up with Kyrie, and that was a really great idea. Not so great was to bring like Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. So LeBron's had some hits and misses here when he tries to play GM, but he's got to be surveying the league and wondering, where can I fit here and how can I squeeze every last bit out of the end of my career?
Yeah, I mean, I would also, if I were him and the calculus ahead of me, I would think about calling it quits. I mean, dude's 40. It's not going to go well next year, right? I mean, what are the odds that he keeps ascending? And
we said that about 38 and 39.
Yeah, and it's not going quite as well as I think you're painting the picture. Like, he's good right now, but if he's the best player on your team, you're not winning anything. So,
but he knows that.
But how can you really be a role player and be LeBron James? It feels weird to me.
The bubble title, Davis was the best player on the floor.
It was different though. I'm saying, can he really be the third option on a team? He certainly wasn't a third option on the bubble title team. He was LeBron.
Yeah.
And he's still really good now, but it just feels like if he really wants to win a championship, he has to find a place on a team like the Nuggets, who are just really well-rounded and really good. Where a team like the Mavs or the Warriors, to me, that feels like a really dangerous situation. Like, it could look bad for LeBron. If I was him, if you really want to ring chase, just go to Boston, where he hates.
I don't think he'd do that. Golden State, let's not also take that one off the table.
Yeah.
855-212-4227. Would you think less of LeBron if he went to another team to try to get a ring? I don't think so. I think people would laud him for it. Look at how bad this guy wants to win.
Let's do a poll.
Yeah. You want to put it out on your
I'll
social
put it out
media,
on
or
mine,
do you want to
because-
put it on our social
I mean,
media?
this is going to be, I don't mean to be overconfident in a poll, but this is going to be a slaughter.
Wow. You're the real, what are you? You're the Anthony Edwards of polls this morning?
I mean, it is going to be.
Wrecking fools?
Would you think, if you were to, would you think more or less of LeBron if he left the Lakers to join the Mavs or the Warriors next season? I mean, come on. It just sounds bad. You have to admit that
I
does
think it
not
sounds
sound
great.
right. Think more of, like, man, LeBron, you are such a baller that you're leaving this team that you've built to go to a better team. That's, I think, so much more of you. You know how this works, Maggie? LeBron could do something completely neutral and 80% of the people would hate it.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter because I'm talking about basketball. And I'm talking about giving yourself a better chance to win. 855-212-4227. We've got so much more for you today. It's draft week. We've got draft stuff for you. We've got more basketball. 855-212-4227. But your thoughts on LeBron. Can he leave LA? I say definitely. And not just that. Like, he's on the phone. Is he on the phone? He's in the DMs. Again, you can watch the show. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet, Twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. If you want to see us, you also can listen to us on the absolutely free to download Odyssey app, SiriusXM channel 158. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. We have competing polls up. I have one up on Twitter, and Maggie has one up on Twitter. You can follow me at Andrew Perloff. She's at Maggie Gray. The question is, I said, would you, what was my wording? Hold on. Yours was, you do yours first, because you used the word respect.
Yeah, I said, would you respect LeBron James more or less if he left the Lakers to join a better team? More, go win more titles, or less, ring chasing is lame. I'm being honest out there.
Yeah.
I'm voting on my own poll to say I would respect him more.
You'd respect him for, you even called it ring chasing.
It's fine.
You respect ring chasing?
See, I don't consider him like this is not a glob on where you're the 10th guy on the bench.
Yeah.
And you get to say, oh, I won a ring once. You're going to still be LeBron James. You're still going to matter. You're still going to be a factor. You're going to have earned that ring.
Actually, okay, so I said, would you think more or less of LeBron if he left the Lakers to join the Mavs or Warriors, two teams that you mentioned, which make a lot of sense? 77% say less. I thought it was going to be like 90%. How can you know how this works, Maggie? The worst thing you can be called in NBA is a ring chaser or a bus rider. Or like, this is the kind of player we're talking about. Like, KD will never get over that. And honestly, LeBron, I think, did a lot to get over the Heatles thing, the fact that he had to join Miami to win a title by winning one in Cleveland. I think he would kill some of that goodwill legacy-wise if he actually joined somebody good enough to win. See, I don't think that Dallas or Golden State is going to win anything with LeBron.
He might get closer. He's not winning anything with this Lakers team. Our very own Andrew Kaplan in our chat, Infinity Sportsnet on YouTube and Twitch, he said, I would respect him more for leaving. Also points out LeBron won't be 40 until next December. So, and I'm with Cap on this one. I would respect him more for leaving. And to sit here in L.A. and you're just going to keep getting whitewashed by the Nuggets, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Meanwhile...
Well, yeah, but if to really win, he has to go to Denver or Boston. That would look terrible. If he goes to Dallas, there's no way he's getting out of the West. I mean, he's going to the same exact place.
You had, really the best game of the entire NBA playoffs was last night, probably. I mean, that was the closest game. Oklahoma City, the Pelicans had 20 ties, 20 lead changes, came down to the final minute, but ultimately, final seconds, home teams go 8-0 in these opening rounds. First time since, 2013 or something. So, we're just getting our toes dipped in the water here on this.
The water sucks because everybody's hurt. I mean, like, honestly, the Pels without Zion Williamson, that's like watching... I can't even tell you how disappointing that is. That's like having a meal that should be good, but it's totally flavorless.
Can I nitpick a little on last night's game just for a second? If you weren't awake, it was late. It ended after midnight on the East Coast, but it was an exciting game. I mean, it did come down to the final second, came down to maybe a bad call that was an out-of-bounds call that ended up first being called a jump ball by Tony Brothers, and then the OKC decided decided to challenge it, and they actually overturned it and gave it to the Pelicans. Okay, it didn't end up mattering because OKC wins the game. It was a Chet Holmgren, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, really clutch down the stretch. Why, if you have the Pelicans and you've got one final possession and you had, 12 seconds to set something up, why are you not running a play from Brandon Ingram? I don't understand this. I like the CJ McCollum. Brandon Ingram had been good in that game. McCollum was fine. Can you not set up a play for Brandon Ingram? Am I alone here? All right.
No, I agree. I think CJ McCollum stinks. I think he is a shell of himself. And you're down 2. Like, go for a high percentage shot. The Brandon Ingram mid range is their best chance, and they go for a 29-foot 3.
I just couldn't believe it. And he got the ball poked away from him, too, by the defender. And so then it was like a scramble, and he's trying to lean into a 3. I know Willie Green's a really good coach, but you got to dial something up there for Ingram, in my opinion. Andrew Bogish is here. He's got headlines. Hello.
Good morning, guys. Those headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. We'll start in OKC because that was the only game that gave us any drama yesterday.
Shai, jab steps, drives, splits defenders, floats it up across his body, counts him, it goes, and it goes! Gilgeous-Alexander rips the course from 13, and one coming! Thunder 92, the Pelicans 90, with 32.5 to play.
That's Matt Pinto, Thunder Radio MVP finalist Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the tie-breaking three-point play with 32 seconds left in Game 1 with those Pels. OKC held on for a 94-92 win with SGA scoring 28.
Everyone that came in kind of played their role, gave good minutes. All 11 guys did their part and the reason why we won tonight.
And as Perloff mentioned, New Orleans didn't have one of its best players in Zion thanks to that hamstring injury. No Giannis for the Bucks, but they still took care of the Pacers 109-94 with Damian Lillard scoring 35 all in the first half. The Clippers thumped the Mavs in their Game 1 109-97. Vintage James Harden, 28 points and 8 assists, and the Celtics steamrolled the Heat 114-94. Jason Tatum, his first career postseason triple-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. The best playoff game of the day, though, was on ice in Winnipeg.
Grabbed by Shankly, backhanded back in behind the net from Velarde out in front for Connor, shot, he scores! Kyle Connor with his second of the night. And there's Velarde and Shifley again. That line has been dynamite, and Winnipeg regains a 3-goal lead.
That's from Jets Radio. Winnipeg and Colorado were 3-3 after one in their opener. That Kyle Connor goal made it 7-4 Jets. In the third, they held on for a 7-6 thriller. The Canucks scored 3 in the third to take Game 1 from Nashville 4-2. The Rangers down the Caps 4-1. And the Panthers held off the Lightning 3-2. As we discussed last week, the Yankee radio booth lost John Sterling to retirement. Yesterday, Mets radio almost lost Pat McCarthy to a foul ball.
Grant Hartwig, who was optioned the other day, is eligible to come back because of the injury. As Outwind swings and pops one up just over our heads, and it goes right off my chest. Oh, I missed it. Ow.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Is the laptop alive?
I don't know. Oh, I got blinded by the top, and it came down and drilled me.
Excuses.
Wait, did it ricochet and hit him in the chest with Sterling?
It hit him first, then the laptop. He's fine. The laptop is not, as far as I know at the moment. But yeah, body first, then laptop. But the laptop made more noise.
Oh,
as you could hear in the call
Imagine
there.
getting hit in the chest.
Yeah. Not good.
Also, why didn't you catch it?
Yeah, what happened?
Also that.
What, did he miss?
He said he was blinded.
He said that. I think he said the overhang messed him up.
Bad excuse.
Gotta make a play.
Catch a freaking baseball.
Got him. Although I made a one-handed attempt at a line drive recently to I thought save a kid from a foul ball at a Little League game.
Wow.
And I thought my hand was going to explode.
You're a real hero, though, Bogues.
Did you just got a fingertip on the ball or what?
No, like the bottom of my left thumb. And I didn't want to look at my hands. I thought I was like mangled from like some kind of like IED, but it was okay.
And this is off the bat of a 9-year-old?
10, but as you know, those bats are basically like thunderbolts.
Oh,
these
yeah,
days.
I'm sure.
Aluminum.
I missed it.
So it had some juice.
You know, I realize we sit here in a cushy studio and people don't think that our jobs have a lot of danger involved in it. And obviously compared to, people out there working construction and doing really, really dangerous things, ice fishing or whatever. We don't hold a candle. Sorry. But
what? Ice fishing?
Not ice fishing. Like when they're out, the Alaska people have to catch the fish. It's like world's most dangerous
deadliest
job.
catch.
Ice fishing, you can have a 24-pack of beer and totally fine. Yeah.
Sorry, not ice fishing. Deadliest catch. The most nerve-wracking thing I've ever had to do, I was actually just thinking about this the other day. I had to have my back to BP at Yankee Stadium once doing an interview with somebody. That is the most nerve-wracking thing. I just, every second, I was sitting across from somebody, we're doing an interview, and I had my back to Yankees Royals BP.
But you're in the dugout.
No, I wasn't in the dugout. I was down the third baseline. I'm like, do you understand? The only good thing is I probably will be unconscious. I'm not going to feel it because it's going to either make my head explode and it's going to crack my skull if I get hit with one of these, or I'm just going to be unconscious and that's it.
There is like a crazy video of a woman in your same exact situation. And I feel like you can see the ball coming, and all of a sudden just a glove appears and catches it right at the back of her head.
Oh, wow. Like Luis Guillorme?
Yeah.
Guillorme caught a foul ball?
Because you're right. You're in a danger zone down those lines, and every thwack you're thinking, that's coming from me.
Why wouldn't you get protection from the turtle? Didn't you move, wouldn't you move so that the turtle, the thing that, they put behind him for the batting practice?
So they would only let us be in a certain part of the field.
Yeah.
And so I my back just to a Major League Baseball professional batting practice is felt like taking my life in my hands.
That's reckless.
It was reckless.
Steinbrenners were trying to kill you.
It's funny because usually the Dolans are the ones who are trying to kill me. I'm pretty cool with the Steinbrenners, actually, ironically.
Baseball last night, the Rangers avoided a 3-game sweep in Atlanta's 6-4, ending the Braves' overall 6-game win streak. Nelly Corda might be Caitlin Clark plus Scottie Scheffler. She has now won 5 consecutive LPGA events after closing out the Chevron Championship yesterday for the second major of her career. She is the third in tour history to win 5 in a row, and she is scheduled to play again this week. And former Duke point guard Jeremy Roach is transferring to Baylor. Guys,
I'm fine.
Back to you.
Perloff had another Scottie Scheffler what if.
So he's up 5 shots, 3 holes left, RBC, 8 a.m. It's now 8 a.m.
8 a.m., yeah.
Tee off. Please, God, make his wife go into labor now.
You want this story to happen so badly.
Well,
this is now a 45-minute window that she would have to go into labor.
Because you think he's a phony, right?
90 minutes, right?
And you think he's bluffing?
I want to see him make this decision. Don't you? I mean, I would if somebody is out there saying, I am such a whatever, I'm such a good dad that I'm going to do this. I want him to be put to the test. Don't you guys want to see if he follows through?
What is it, $2 million on the line?
$3.6 million.
It's a pretty big purse.
For 3 holes. That's $1.2 million per hole.
And he's got a 5-stroke lead, right?
Yeah, 5 strokes.
This is money in the bank.
Would you walk? Do you think he'll walk away? First of all, either way he wins because it's the ultimate walk away. And it's still, otherwise he wins $3 million.
He's not walking away. He's a phony. This was like they tried to make this a story last weekend at the Masters where he was like, yeah, my wife goes into labor, I'm leaving. It's like, buddy, no, you're not.
Well, this is how boring Scottie Scheffler is that we have to, this is the most interesting thing about him, which is having a kid, which is something that everyone in the world does. But no, Bogusz and Bellotti are big on they would leave.
Oh, you guys are full of baloney.
Listen, I'm happy to lose this to you.
Don't go down this road with me.
You are a soulless human being.
You're right. But hold on. Ready? Ready? We'll isolate this audio for your wife. Do 10 seconds of you saying, yes, I would leave because I'm a good person, and then we can get back to reality.
We did this last week, and Perloff threw 8,000 what-ifs at us, and the answer is always, I'm going.
You guys were like, I don't know, I watched that one Marvel movie, but whatever the person who's just got the shield, Captain America, you're like that.
Literally the main character.
yeah, that one. Deflecting every single possible what if your wife's in labor question. These two were adamant, Pat.
I don't buy it for a second. If you're at the top, you're trying to win the pinnacle of your sports tournament. You're trying to win the Masters or whatever other applicable situation you want, plus a purse of $3 million, $4 million, $5 million. Oh, sorry, honey. we're $5 million now less richer because I had to watch you have a kid that everybody does every single day that you're going to do again.
Whoa. Pat, I was about to join your team, but you might be going on a little too heavy.
$5 million poorer is a very funny way to put it.
What if, okay.
$5 million poorer.
Pat, the one that I really thought I had them on was his Super Bowl, because if you're the quarterback and you leave because your wife's in labor, you're letting down your teammates. Does that mean anything to you guys?
No, the kid means more to me than anything.
Yeah, I don't want to let down my wife.
You got that kid forever, man.
Yeah, the kid, first of all, do you remember anything about your birth? No, the kid has no idea if you're there.
And by the way, have you ever seen the birthing process? That's something that you can't miss.
By the way, I'm a dad of 2. What are you? Your child rearing philosophy, as we've learned on the radio, unfortunately, is to have as many as possible with as many women as possible, so hopefully one of them becomes a good kid and can take care of you in old age.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'll be there for that kid when they're at their most important stages of life, not for something
Like
that they're never going to remember.
Oh.
And then where your wife is in, that's so nobody wants to see that.
I know. Pat reminds me of somebody or of someone who would actually have looked that up on YouTube and has watched and was watching.
We had to watch it in 7th grade.
Well, also,
the miracle of life.
Pat,
that was the miracle of destruction for me.
I think what every child wants is dad parachuting in for their greatest moment.
No problems there.
Yeah, that never leads to anything.
Hey, Todd, nice to meet you. I'm your dad. Haven't been here for 18 years, but good luck in the draft today.
Why are you so angry?
Wait, just you want someone to take care of your old, or you want a pro athlete? Which one is, if I give you a poll question, which one is more important to you?
What do you mean? Pro athlete or what?
The kid is going to be a pro athlete, or the kid, you really want someone to take care of you when you're old? Why do you want children, Pat?
I want my kid to be a pro athlete.
Got it.
If nobody takes, if I have a pro athlete child that then doesn't take care of me when I'm like 85 and I can't even take myself to the bathroom, that's fine. I'll take that. Yeah, throw me in the trash at that point.
But you can watch him on TV.
Yes,
or her.
Dispose of me however you want at that point. I don't care.
Dispose of me.
You just get to be the big man who gets to brag about their kid.
Yeah, by the way, it doesn't really matter if they acknowledge you. I mean, a lot of these dads just show up anyway. Glom onto the situation. I mean, Mahomes' dad, it certainly doesn't seem to be very friendly with the family, and he's always there. No, Pat, I'm on Team Pat on this one. I would leave anything.
Pat,
thank you.
Here's a question with your philosophy here. Not the philosophy, rather the strategy. So the strategy is to have as many kids as possible in hopes that one of them becomes a professional athlete. Are you figuring out where the WNBA players are hanging out? Are you going to the Team USA volleyball matches? Are you putting in the work? Because I imagine you need to marry and you want to procreate. Not marry. You want to procreate with someone who's also athletic.
Yeah.
If this is going to have any shot, because you're not a professional athlete. So you're going to have the woman's genes. I'm just calling it like it is. I'm sorry. Did I miss your career with the Yankees?
Professional athlete, yes.
Yeah, Pat,
he did play college baseball, so he's closer than the rest of us.
All right, then you're closer than the rest of us. But, okay, so are you, hanging out at the St. John's softball practices? You got to do your part.
Are you saying, am I scouting? Am I doing the scouting report?
I'm asking if you're doing the work, is what I'm asking. Are you putting in the effort? Are you just hanging out at the bar, going home with whoever? You have no idea if she's got an athletic gene in her body or not.
I think if nothing else, if the worst case scenario, give me somebody who's 6'2". At least I have a chance.
So you're just going with height. You're just scouting. You're just doing an eye test. Are you doing any background information?
Ideally, I would choose somebody that's a professional athlete already, but beggars can't be choosers.
Okay, I have a scientific question.
Another great strategy.
I have a scientific question. I'm going to help Pat get off the hot seat here.
Okay.
Chef Matthew tweeted us, labor takes a while, win the tourney, then get on your private jet and be there in plenty of time to cut the cord. I forget how long it took. I blanked out that whole period of my life.
Yeah, and it's the first kid.
Does he have time to win and get there? But that's a huge risk, right?
You never know what's going to happen.
You can't predict it.
You can't play God with these things, Yeah. The joke's going to be on you.
Yeah, if he's if he left and didn't make it, that's why you say, too, leaving and not making the delivery, that's like a lose-lose. Right? You got to at least take the one easy layup and win the RBC.
Oh, you're somewhere over Arkansas and she's going into labor anyway?
What if you left $3 million on the table and then was not there anyway? Then the kid is going to be mad. You're not going to get any money.
Thank you, Perloff. Thank you. Imagine that. You do the good thing. Oh, honey. I'm 45 minutes away from winning $6 million. Oh, sorry. I'm going to jump on the private jet and leave my entire dreams and goals behind. And then you don't even make the kid anyway. You don't even make it there in time. Not only are we now $5 million poor, now I missed it anyway.
Wait, Maggie, what about you?
Yeah.
So you have a different angle on this.
Yeah.
What do you think as a wife? Say your husband was on the brink of some big achievement, would you tell him to come, just drop it and come?
I think the moment that you marry a professional athlete, you kind of understand a little of what you signed up for. I'm not saying that you can't have your opinions on it, no doubt. But your whole life, for the most part, unless you yourself are an athlete or you have your own career or whatever going on, for the most part, your life kind of revolves around the athlete. And I think this is for men who marry women who are athletes. Like, you're around their calendar, you're around their schedule, and especially if they're really good, like Scottie Scheffler. Like, I mean, you've already made so many sacrifices.
Wow.
What's this one?
I can't believe we got Pat, Maggie, and Pearl going up against Bilotti and Bogus. I didn't know. Yeah, we're a formidable trio here. I think the public's with us, by the way.
Now, I did have someone reach out to me about this. We were talking about it last week. Who said, "You guys realize Scheffler had already won a green jacket,
right?
So this was the second green jacket.
Oh,
is that when you leave to go be with the kid?
This is a green jacket. No. I don't like that argument. Like the chance to win the Masters. I mean, heck, I would stay for the RBC Heritage. If I was down 3 shots to get a
yes,
third.
we know you're almost as heartless as Pat. It's a little.
That's like $800,000 to come in third place at this stupid tournament.
You think if Patrick Mahomes wins one Super Bowl, that's fine? He's okay with just winning one? Because he won one. That's a dumb argument too. He won one Masters, so it's his second. Oh, who cares?
Yeah, it is a green jacket.
I like the idea that Perloff is actually at the hospital and just leaves anyway.
By the way,
have a conference
I mean,
call.
like the real
You're
debate.
looking for places.
The real debate is I got to leave my couch when Scottie Scheffler is about to wrap this up to go to meet my wife. I'm watching it.
You got $50 on this thing.
Oh, by the way, Ravel, thank you.
What?
Did you see Darren Ravel was on Friday? We found out what really happened with the Masters, Steve. Somebody had an Arnold Palmer green jacket.
Oh, I never saw the follow-up.
He hinted that he had a good story.
I asked if it was a type. Okay, so there was an employee who was an inside job working at Augusta National who, over a series of 8 years or so, had been stealing things, either merchandise or actual memorabilia, and had been taken across state lines for the purpose of selling it. Yeah. This person is in major, major trouble. And he asked Ravel, and he's like, I can't tell you exactly what it is yet, whatever. So I was like, was it a Tiger Woods jacket? And he said, no, it was an Arnold Palmer jacket.
It was an Arnold Palmer green jacket.
That takes a set. To steal Arnold Palmer's jacket right out of the humidor.
Almost cooler than a Tiger jacket. I mean, both of them are probably worth a lot of money. Yeah, where do you just wear it? You can't sell it probably, so you just have to wear it around.
Dinner at the Cracker Barrel? Where are you wearing this thing?
Yeah. Dinner. Hey, what's the deal with that jacket? Oh, it's Arnold Palmer's second Masters.
Arnie gave it to me.
His wife was about to give birth, but Arnie's had priorities set straight.
Back in Arnie's day, I don't think men showed up to the hospital even if they had nothing to do. Just
back
like,
in
Arnie
later toots.
Arnie rolled into
changing a diaper.
Yeah, Arnie rolled into the labor room, smoking a cigarette, looking cool.
With an iced tea and a lemonade.
Yeah.
Hey, lady, you done yet with this thing? Let's go. I want to name him Jack.
Arnold Palmer turned into Tony Soprano right there. Bogish, thank you. 855-212-4227. Coming up, we get some new quotes from Dak Prescott. That happens next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Cowboy Quickie music, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. It is our job to update you on all things Dallas Cowboys all the time. The latest comes Friday night. This was a charity event. Dak Prescott talking about how no real negotiations have started between his camp and the Dallas Cowboys. He also said about life after Dallas, I don't have any fears. I'm not going to say I fear being here or not. I don't fear either situation, to be candid with you. I love the game. I love to play. I love to better myself as a player, my teammates around me. Right now, it's the Dallas Cowboys. That's where I want to be. That's where I am. That's the focus. After the season, we'll see where we're at, and if the future holds that. If not, we go from there. So basically, I think Dak has really braced himself here and is maybe even looking forward to free agency or closest to, right? Where he can basically hit the open market. I think Dak would welcome this.
Do you think he's betting on himself?
I absolutely think he's betting on himself, and I think that if he puts together another good season, he's looking at a massive payday. Look at what Kirk Cousins just got coming off of an Achilles tear.
But here's where I'm confused. I got to be honest, I'm a little confused by this whole thing because he also said in the same thing that I've talked to Jerry Jones and we're in a really good place. So
but
how is that? What does that mean?
Negotiations.
Well, maybe a good place for him is, I'm going to free agency.
Maybe.
But that just feels so weird that I understand the logic. They're just going to let him go. But what does Dallas get out of it? It's a bunch of dead cap and nothing. So Dallas is really going to let him walk.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to wrap my head around him. I understand it. I understand the logic. It just feels like, okay, we're all, it's like a divorce where everybody's happy. Like, yes, this is a mutual, we're happy because we're moving on. It doesn't work like that in real life. It has to be, somebody's feelings have to be heard here.
You can't consciously uncouple or whatever.
Yeah, no, it just feels like Dak is like, yeah, this is fine. Me and Jerry are in a good place. I have no contract. I'm fine. And it seems like the Cowboys are doing what they want to do. It just, the whole thing seems too smooth for me, Maggie. These quotes are just like, like Dak seems completely unbothered by this. How can he, is that possible?
Well, I mean, who are the last guys who have really bet on themselves? I mean,
Kirk Cousins and Dak.
And how's it worked out for them? They're rich beyond belief, and they have no Super Bowls to show for it, and nobody cares. And they will continue to get rich. Because I think if Dak Prescott hit the open market, especially if it's next year and what we think is going to be a maybe quote-unquote down year for quarterbacks in the draft, he's going to have multiple suitors. Yeah. It only takes two, or one, I guess, but to drive the price up. But he's going to have multiple suitors.
Yeah, he'll get $50 million a year. I agree.
Easy. So, why even mess around? And I think for the Cowboys, they've misplayed this whole thing. Unless they really want to move on after this with Dak and Mike McCarthy both in walk years, and they want to do this clean slate and break. My question is, where's your next quarterback coming from? Because even if they take a guy in the second round or late first round this year, you sure this is going to be late first round, okay. But if it's a third round or later, that's not real.
Well, maybe
that's a lottery ticket.
But they do have, and they're talking a lot about this guy. They have Trey Lance as their mid-round quarterback. So I think they'll try and sell that to the fan base as a possible successor. And let's be honest, he was a former number 3 overall pick. Maybe he is a successor. We've never seen him play for more than 2 games. There's nothing to judge on anything there.
And no garbage time, no nothing. We didn't see him at all this year.
Yeah. We'll see him a little bit in camp. We'll see him in preseason. So maybe that's their future lottery ticket thing. No, it's interesting. If Dak gets to the free agent market, you got to think that somebody else would be. Maybe they go in for an Aaron Rodgers next year. Maybe they try and find. I'm surprised you haven't even brought this up yet. Why? Maybe they talk Tom Brady out of retirement. Or maybe
look at what you're saying.
These
are not good options.
Well, right. But I think that it must be they're so tired of losing playoff games with Dak that they're looking ahead. It just strikes me as just way too harmonious. All these quotes. He's like, "Yeah, this is. I'm happy whatever they do." Dak is smooth, but isn't
Why
it more?
Why wouldn't he be happy? He's got all the leverage here.
It's just weird that basically going back to Dallas this year, knowing the team doesn't want him, most players would be affected by that, and Dak seems completely merry about the whole situation.
I think he's would genuinely be looking forward to it because think about it. Even I just don't even think if you get injured, it matters. So let's just play this out. We're talking about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys in the future. Let's play this out, and let's say Dak does get hurt, and name whatever time of the season, early, middle, late. Say he gets hurt. The Falcons just showed you it doesn't matter. They don't care.
Yep.
They'll give $70 million guaranteed or whatever to Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles. Aaron Rodgers, who ended up taking a pay cut a little bit with the Jets, but still making tons of money. You don't think somebody, if he was a free agent right now, that people would be banging down the door with him coming off an Achilles? So unless Dak is gets decapitated, I don't know how he's actually going to lose money here.
No, you're right. He should be confident about that. That's a good point. What about, I got another team, the Giants, because they'll need a quarterback next season, and Dak owns the Commanders and the Eagles.
Listen, it's all on the table.
There are a lot of good spots. The Seahawks.
Well, Dak Prescott and Bill Belichick with the Giants.
Yeah, how about the Seahawks with Dak Prescott sort of go out west? Arizona, because I'm sure they're done with Kyler at some point soon.
Again, you could pencil in Dak Prescott because
now I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Think about, and this is why another reason why the Cowboys would have totally blown this, because you've seen teams that you can sucker in to give you everything for quarterbacks in their 30s. Yeah. See, Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson. You can You can find a team that's going to give you everything.
For Dak Prescott?
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. So that's another
teams
angle.
get desperate, and the Cowboys are going to get, if they do part ways with Prescott, it's bupkis. You don't even get anything. So you messed up the contract negotiations twice with Dak Prescott, and you don't even have anything to show for your asset. Oh, my gosh.
Well, they were never.
Who's in charge over there?
Nobody was going to trade for Dak Prescott.
He would be a huge commodity. He'd probably get 3 first-round picks.
For Dak, no. Not. I mean,
Russell Wilson got.
I think Dak is viewed as overpaid by the rest of the league.
I think he's seen as a proven by the rest of the league.
Well, now no one is going to want to sit there and say, let's bring in Dak Prescott and have to pay him $55 million. That is not as popular as you might think.
I mean, the Browns did it with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
Denver did it with Russell Wilson.
The Denver thing is crazy, but the Deshaun was way more valuable than Dak.
Coming up, we've got the latest on the NFL draft. You're welcome to weigh on the Cowboys, too. 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Hold on to your hats, everybody. It's draft week, and it looks like we are getting some little bit of news here. Top of the draft, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff hanging out with you this morning across the country on the Infinity Sports Network. So, Jayden Daniels, this was something that first came to everyone's attention last week, Perloff, which was the Washington Commanders doing something kind of unusual maybe to this scale, which was bringing in a ton of draft prospects all at the same time. And what got the most headlines was they brought in 4 different quarterbacks all at the same time. So it was Michael Penix, it was Jayden Daniels, it was JJ McCarthy, and it was Drake May. And the idea is, I don't actually know if it was on purpose, if it was just for scheduling, but they did like a whole event at Topgolf, and then they were, doing meetings with all of these prospective draftees. So Jayden Daniels was clearly not happy about it, and his agent was the one who showed some frustration on social media, liking a few tweets that kind of questioned the maneuver of not giving Jayden Daniels full attention. Why muck this up with the other draft picks when if you've zeroed in on Jayden Daniels, why wouldn't you, be wanting to spend as much time as possible? Why wouldn't you really want to set him apart from everyone else?
Sure.
And Jayden Daniels was not happy about it. Here's Adam Schefter. Pete, can we play cut 1, please? Here's Adam Schefter talking about Jayden Daniels not thrilled with what the Commanders were doing.
Well, it didn't seem to go over too well with the agent for Jayden Daniels, Ron Butler, who sounded off on social media last night that he didn't seem particularly pleased with the process. I think Jayden Daniels thought it would be a visit with just him, meeting with the Commanders. Many people think that Jayden Daniels will wind up being the number 2 overall pick, but the Commanders essentially opened up the process.
Okay, so the Commanders, with this unique moment here, may have turned off Jayden Daniels. Now, add to that, Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, who was reporting that Daniels, or someone close to Daniels, believes that he has openly wondered about his options, that would he be better off playing for a different team, and the Raiders were a team that got mentioned.
Because he played under Antonio Pierce at Arizona State, not under directly, but he was on the staff at Arizona State when Jayden Daniels was there. So I kind of, here's the issue. You have the Washington Commanders. Are they still the same franchise that was incompetent under Daniel Snyder? And I think that I could understand if Jayden Daniels was stepping back and saying, gee, I wonder, is the sort of stink of the last 20 years of Washington still there? Is this the place for me? I kind of respect quarterbacks who look at the situation and say, is going number 2 overall is great, but am I going to a place that is going to set me up to win? And I just don't know if that's the case for Washington. It would be smart if Jayden Daniels pushed himself to a place where he was best set up to win.
Yeah, because we think the Raiders are that opportunity. See, to me, this is a major red flag here for Jayden Daniels. I think he looks awful here.
Oh, come on.
This is bad because here's the thing. So you're telling me that you are all in your feelings and you're that hurt because the team had the audacity to bring in other quarterbacks? Hey, earth to Jayden Daniels. I know he knows this. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. There's going to be some competition. whether it's within your own team or whether it's with the NFL at large, like, you are going to have to deal with some kind of adversity, competition, the red carpet not getting rolled out for you. And I think he knows this. This makes him look really bad to me. Like, you got a curveball thrown your way in the draft process, and you got so hurt by it that now your agent is out here doing the putting it out there publicly in this sort of passive aggressive way. This is terrible for him.
Well, who knows if he's hurt? He's probably wondering, is this team know what they're doing? And he's good enough where, in my opinion, like, he's at all, one of the greatest college football seasons we've ever seen, that I think he'd be wise to say, is this franchise know what? I don't think it is hurt. I think it's more like, wait, am I going to win here? Do they have any idea what's going on here? And listen, there's a lot of reasons to think the Commanders do not.
Listen, I get that, but I would give this Commanders regime a little bit more benefit of the doubt. And if I'm really thinking, gosh, I need to maneuver and get myself someplace where I really have a chance of winning. And again, the Raiders are the best thing I could come up with.
What if I gave you, but first of all, he's never said I want to go to the Raiders.
This was sources close to him. That's true.
What if he got to the Vikings? I mean, that would be amazing for him. That would be so much better than Washington.
Okay, but I don't know if Jayden Daniels, if you really want to get in the muck like that, to try to determine where you want to go. This is the thing. Like,
why shouldn't he be passive? Just sit there and let a team that he doesn't want to go to pick him. Why would you advise him if you were his agent? Say, hey, let's get out here and muck this up. We don't want to go to Washington.
Okay, well then you better start mucking for real, because
it sounds like he is.
Because here's but he didn't come out yet and say that I'm not going to play for this team.
He can't do that. You're already killing him for these secondhand reports. Imagine if he came out and said, I don't want to play. You can't come out and say, I don't want to play for Washington.
No, I'm killing him because the perception is that he thought that it was going to go a certain way, that the Commanders were going to roll out the red carpet for him, and that he was going to basically take the keys to the kingdom. And when they threw a small curveball at him, like having the other draftees in the building, it feels like he couldn't handle it, or he certainly took it personally. And to me, that's revealing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm killing him. But as far as him trying to pull an Eli Manning, let's not forget, I know this was 20 years ago, so we often do forget. That was as awkward a situation as could possibly be, and that was before
5 minutes
social
of the
media.
Draft. But but it still was. I mean, well worth 5 minutes of awkwardness for 2 Super Bowls. Like, Eli and his team would do that 100 times out of 100.
No doubt.
So if that's your model, then Jayden should hope, give me awkward.
Okay, but
get me out of this team.
There was another thing about Eli where I feel like if his father wasn't Arch Manning and if his brother wasn't Peyton Manning, it would have been a lot harder of a maneuver. That's why nobody does it anymore. That's why Caleb Williams is going to Chicago. That's why Joe Burrow went to Cincinnati. It's why Trevor Lawrence went to Jacksonville. It's why these quarterbacks who do have a lot of leverage still go to the team that drafts them.
Well, Trevor Lawrence is from right there. He wanted to go to Jacksonville. I don't know about and Joe Burrow is from Ohio too.
Hasn't won jack, and Cincinnati hasn't won jack.
Jacksonville and Lawrence obviously was a fit. Geographically, sort of where they were.
Say the Jets had the number 1 pick. Trevor Lawrence was going to New York. He was.
I don't know. Jacksonville, clearly, I think he would have chosen Jacksonville among his top 5 teams. Trevor fits Jacksonville, let's just say that. But regardless, and obviously Burrow has a lot of Ohio connections as well.
Carson Palmer came out and told Joe Burrow, don't come here, and he still did. I'm just talking about the guys who have leverage.
Yeah, and by the way,
since Eli Manning, who haven't used it.
Yeah, I just wonder if he saw this visit, and I think a lot of people are like, whoa, does this team know what they're doing? Is this a sign? And obviously they have a defensive head coach. A lot of people have mixed feelings about Cliff Kingsbury as an OC. I understand where Jayden Daniels might be like, I don't know if this is a fit for me. I think that would be kind of a smart move. And honestly, I'm not sure Caleb Williams has found Shangri-La in Chicago. It seems like he has bit the bullet and pretended he wants to be there. I'm not positive that's the best spot for him. If I'm Jayden Daniels, I would try to get to a different team. Like, honestly, I don't think this is a great fit.
Yeah, the one thing, though, is like you're telling me that you're going to do this whole maneuver to get to a team that also is not a winner.
Yeah, but I would really try. All these quarterbacks should want to go to Minnesota. That is, to me, the spot. New England's terrible right now. Washington's completely rebuilding. Chicago, who knows? They have such a history of failure. Feels like there was a couple hits out there that would be better. Denver with Sean Payton, Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell, maybe Seattle with that new team. I think that would be.
So you're basically just saying anywhere but Washington.
Well, I would go anywhere but New England, but I think Washington is probably not ideal. I think that would be kind of a tough spot.
Well, the roster's not bad though, and
is it?
I don't think the roster is bad offensively. I don't think the roster is bad.
I like the moves they made, but honestly, like this, it's hard to ignore everything that's happened with this team. Even with Josh, and also there's all these reports that Josh Harris is in every meeting and he's having the new owner is having a lot of say on personnel.
Yeah, what do you think Mark Davis is doing? I mean, Mark Davis is meeting with the head coach after every single game. I
don't believe that Raiders report because he's got to know they're 13. There's no way they're getting Jayden Daniels. How are they going to get into the mix?
Well, it would have to be Daniels himself getting really dirty about this. I'm saying dirty, like not like he is not getting dirty. But you got to muck up the process. Eli Manning had to muck it up. He had to sit there through these really uncomfortable interviews, and it got really bad. And I think Eli was always, just sort of aw shucks Eli Manning, and again had Archie and had Peyton to provide a little bit of a buffer, a little cover. It's like, well, obviously these people know what they're doing. And the first family of football. Jayden Daniels is coming off an incredible season, as you said, Heisman Trophy winner. But this is it's really putting yourself out there to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, and listen.
Especially if you don't have a destination.
Raiders is probably also better. I'd take Raiders over Commanders.
I wouldn't.
You got
East
Devontae.
Is way easier to win.
You got Devontae.
Okay, but again, I'm not so sure that Devontae Adams isn't getting traded on draft day.
Yeah, well, not if if they get Jayden Daniels, and why would they trade him? They could be good immediately. He's probably the first. Him and Caleb are probably going to hit immediately, I would imagine, because they both are so mobile. I think that would be interesting. I don't think they can get from 13 to 3 or whatever. Now, if I'm any quarterback, I'm avoiding New England like the plague.
Well, according to Kevin O'Connell, I don't know if this was tongue-in-cheek or not, but said he was sending bouquets of flowers to Robert Kraft.
Right,
to try to get into that third pick.
Yeah, because the Vikings want Drake May, right? That's what everyone thinks.
Or JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, it feels like May. Why would you trade a 3 for... because who's the guy, Josh McCown? What's the connection? The Vikings have coached May.
Oh, well, I don't know. I think it's that. I know the connection is Kevin O'Connell played for the Patriots for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? Not a long time.
So the Vikings quarterback coach is Josh McCown, who coached Drake May. So there's a lot of Drake May connections there. They're not going to 3 for JJ McCarthy.
I don't know. I mean, I'm watching JJ McCarthy, and his odds just keep going up and up and up and up. And right now, his odds are, well, I guess technically the odds are going down. The odds are getting shorter.
It's always seemed like Washington likes JJ McCarthy. That's sort of been out there for a month and a half.
Well, and now that Jayden Daniels, kind of put it, has made it known, at least through his agent, that he didn't like how this meeting went. I think that maybe everything is back on the table. So this is, to me, though, it comes down to Jayden Daniels. I just think this is a really bad look for him before the draft.
Oh, come on. I thought you were about player empowerment.
I am.
And I thought you hated Washington because of not hated Washington, but agreed with me and everybody else that is a poorly run franchise for 20 years.
Okay, but he's out of the building, so I don't know what else I can say.
I don't know if I get there, I was like, hey, here's my big interview, and there's 3 other dudes. Like I would say,
it's called adversity. Perloff.
Adversity. They went to Top Golf.
Yeah, they did.
It's called. Yeah, I know. It's like. Okay, am I going to Washington to prove I can come through adversity, do 3 years of Washington and get to a real team? I would worry about this team. I think that maybe his instinct is saying, this does not seem like a fit for me.
It's funny. I think it's worse from the player standpoint than the team standpoint, because this tells me that you Jayden Daniels, thought you were walking into the sure thing. You thought you had this thing locked up. You didn't think you had to compete, didn't want to compete, and still don't want to compete.
Compete for what? This is a draft. Well, he's not going out on a field with anybody.
It's an interview.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing,
too,
he's been linked to New England. Strangely, he's wanted to go there, too, people say.
Yeah, see, this is not the guy who has any idea about team and fit. Like, you're just mad because everyone else got invited to Topgolf.
No, I think he's been pro-New England for about 6 weeks now. There's something going on. He does not like Washington. I just get that strong sense.
Okay, so and you say, am I for player empowerment? I am. If you don't want to go to Washington, then make it known that you don't want to go to Washington. And that's not going to happen with some passive-aggressive tweets from your agent. This is the thing that has to be a little bit more thought out and a little more calculated, because I'll give you another reason why. You've got to have another team on board who's willing to execute this with you. When Eli Manning didn't want to go to the San Diego Chargers, the Giants were there to make the deal. He knew exactly where he wanted to go.
Well, maybe that's why we saw the JJ McCarthy odds swing, because they're doing something behind the scenes.
So the JJ McCarthy odds to go 2 overall to the Commanders went from 16 to 1 to 11 to 1?
20 to 1 to 11 to 1 overnight.
20 to 1 to 11 to 1 overnight.
I think that's pretty good. But then again, these odds are not scientific. I think they're just going off of Jayden Daniels not wanting to be there. I think that's the news hook, right? What other we were?
But why wouldn't it just be Drake May? He's like thought of as being the second or third.
Just remember,
best.
we were fooled badly by the odds of the number 2 pick last year because everyone was down on C.J. Stroud going number 2, and then all of a sudden he went number 2. So don't take the odds as gospel. They're just sort of using public information, which is not real information. There's something else going on behind the scenes.
855-212-4227. Let's also not forget, though, something that Bill Belichick said to Pat McAfee last week. Said they were asking him, like, how much do you read the news reports and what's real, what's not real? And he said, generally, 2 days or so before the draft happens, that's when stuff starts to leak out. And he's like, then you kind of can understand where your competition is really going.
Yeah.
I don't think he was BSing. I think
he said 12 hours at one point. That makes sense. But you're telling me that the GMs don't have a good idea. I feel like they have accurate mock drafts, and they're just not sharing them. Maybe I'm naive. Like, but here's Washington. They don't have to wait on anybody. They know Caleb is going number 1. They have this pick here. I think Jayden's onto something. I think you're too high on this team. I think he's might be doing the best thing for him by saying, hey, maybe I should go somewhere else.
No, I'm just low on the move. I don't love the move. I don't love people who think that things should be handed to them. And I don't think Jayden Daniels is that kind of guy. So I thought this was very surprising.
But you have 0.0 idea that Jayden thinks any of that.
Okay, but why do you think that his agent was upset with how the meetings went?
I think they're trying to get out of the Washington. I think they want out.
And they've been waiting just for the right time to strike?
Well, I mean, they've been sort of secretly striking. When he said that Malik Neighbors saying that you're going to go to New England, are you excited? Like, they've been hinting that this is not a marriage made in heaven. Like, Caleb Williams, send me to Chicago. Have you heard Jayden Daniels say that once?
No, but again, he's not in the position that Caleb Williams is in, right? And
sort of, though, because he's a presumptive number 2. He could have said something nice about Washington. He's never said anything about them.
Yeah. 855-212-4227. Rich in Chicago, do you guys have him up? He's not on my call screener, so if we want Rich, we can put him up. Hey, Rich. How you doing, dude?
Yeah. I'm here.
What do you got for us? Good morning.
Yeah, I want to throw this out at you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what's up?
I think one of the benchmarks that somebody has to look at is the general manager's role and draft pick. Let me give an example. In the last 15 years for the Bears, they've only extended 2 out of their 15 first-round picks. So how effective is the drafting when they can't and don't want to extend the draft picks? And you got to look at that's a good benchmark measurement for a GM when you take a look at teams like the Browns, teams like the Patriots. These guys are not drafting where they retain guys long term.
No, it's definitely one way to judge a GM. Thank you so much for the call, Rich. Appreciate that. Teams that are bad, like the New York Jets, who for many, many years did not re-sign one of their first-round picks. Yes,
that is I think the best way to measure.
It's bad.
It's a good metric.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles, by the way, is definitely that guy's got a lot to lose this season if they don't get better. Because I think the fact that they still have Eberflus is a big question mark for this Bears franchise.
And it's set up on a silver platter for him. I mean, you make the trade, you make the good trade with the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are god-awful, so that was an incredible bet. And then you end up with maybe one of the best quarterback prospects since Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't set up better for a general manager than what happened with Ryan Poles. Also, I think people like the Sweat trade. They didn't at first, but that ended up being really good. They ended up re-signing Jalen Johnson. I mean, he's done some nice things. I never understand the head coach part, though. You're going to keep a guy who's basically starting the season on the hot seat? No,
I think Poles is very much in question. I think a lot of people are not sure if that guy is doing a good job. If they don't win with Caleb Williams, they're going to have to, because they have Caleb Williams there, they're going to have to move on from GM and coach immediately.
Yeah.
If they don't make the playoffs this year, I would say they're both in big trouble.
We dive into more draft stuff, and you're welcome to weigh in. 855-212-4227. We've got more. This is not a usual week, guys. This is draft week. This is where the information is going to be coming fast and furious, and we've got it all for you. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So one storyline, I think, did we ever talk once coming into the NBA playoffs about Damian Lillard? I almost forget. It's like, oh yeah, Damian Lillard left Portland to go to Milwaukee. I felt like he just burst on the scene this weekend and reminded everyone, oh my God, Damian Lillard's awesome. 35 points in the first half in Milwaukee. All of a sudden, this is a storyline because we're just talking about the NBA needs something. They need some juice. All the good players are injured, and it seems like Denver and Boston are just going to steamroll everybody. So I feel like this might be the best hope of the NBA to capture the national imagination, to have Dame time at something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not sure what we have.
Well, also, it was a little bit of the bad blood from the play-in tournament. I know you guys all hated the play-in tournament. Do you remember when Tyrese Halliburton did the Dame time?
No.
No? Okay. Nobody remembers this. But
Wait,
I think
which game was that?
this was one of the on the way to the title, I guess. Like, didn't the Lakers play the
the in-season tournament?
Yeah.
I thought you said playing. Okay.
Sorry, did I say play-in? I meant in-season tournament.
Halliburton did the Dame time.
Halliburton did the daytime, and when they beat the Bucks, and then I think that Dame was kind of waiting to get a little revenge. Guys,
there you go.
Setting up the storyline.
Add another layer there. There you go.
Come on, the memorable in-season tournament.
Sorry. That's why I said you guys hated it. I didn't mean to say play-in. In-season.
Right. Okay, so yeah, that's good. I like that. I honestly had not thought once about Damian having a chance here because A, Giannis is hurt, B, Doc Rivers is the coach. God forbid this ever gets to a game 7. They're going down hard. But now all of a sudden we got a little juice, a little, maybe Giannis will come back. Dame time. I'm thrilled about this particular development.
All right, well, let's hear a little from Damian Lillard. Can we hear cut 4, please, Pete, saying he'll do whatever it takes to win?
In my mind and in my heart, I was just like, man, I can't, come this far and not at least try to, put everything into it and put my best foot forward. So this is just one game, but I know it's, it's going to be a hard journey, every night out. And, I'm just excited for this opportunity.
And definitely beats the last couple years where Dame was doing something else this time of year.
The last 2 years not being in the playoffs, it was, it sucked. I was early vacations. Last year I went to Coachella. Like, I ain't never been able to go to Coachella. Like, it's just playing in the playoffs every year. So just having that long summer, it was like, man, I was over that. But being able to be in a playoff series on a championship team and a championship organization, knowing that we got an opportunity for it, I think that was the thing that I was looking forward to most.
Man, when you hear teams go like 1, 2, 3 Cancun, never like 1, 2, 3 Coachella.
Yeah. I was just looking, Dame has 4 albums of his own, by the way. I get him being into the music scene, but apparently he'd rather be on the basketball court. I think that's good for all of us.
Dame Dollar.
Dame Dollar, 4 albums. What? I mean, which is your favorite? I like the second one.
I can take a guess as to why they weren't in the playoffs, because he was doing albums.
No, come on.
I mean, enough with this woe was me garbage.
He had no players in Portland.
Okay, then fine, then figure it out. I mean, you got to be kidding me. All of a sudden, I wasn't in the playoffs.
Pete, come on. Dame Lillard is untouchable. Nobody dislikes you. You're the only person in America who dislikes Damian Lillard.
Go get eliminated with Doc. Have a good time.
That I could get down with.
Well, I mean, that still might happen, but he was really sensational in game 1.
Come
Bogut
on.
just shaking his head.
This is a likable team, the Bucks.
I'm just not prepared for NBA insider Peopleati.
Yeah.
That's
How about we have another tournament again?
That's a storyline I did not see coming.
We should keep a running list in the studio of NBA players Peopleati does not like. We know LeBron. We know now Dame.
To that list.
I think it'd be easier to go the other way. Who do you like?
Yeah, who
the
do you?
Knicks.
Oh, got it.
Everybody on the Knicks.
Got it.
Oh,
The Knicks fans who are burning Joel Embiid's jersey after game 1. Act like you've been there before, Knicks fans.
Yeah.
Imagine if they win a series.
That they burned down the Empire State
Actual
Building.
Joel Embiid, better look out.
Yeah. I mean, also, the burning of the jersey is the biggest loser move you can possibly do.
Honestly, it's throwing a parade on 7th Avenue after a game 1 win over a
that's just because
toppled
everyone's so
Sixers.
high and drunk.
Well, you guys stink, so you know what? It's going to be an easy.
Oh wow,
victory
you beat up Nick Batum and the guys.
All right,
Big
relax.
deal.
I mean, Embiid was there too.
Perloff is exempt from talking about this. You're in, you're out, you're in, you're out with the Sixers. It's exhausting.
Well,
you can't keep track of your mental state every minute, every quarter. You're out.
Well, this is where this all came from. You'd understand where I started the segment. Now I'm rooting desperately for the Bucks to knock off if the Knicks advance, and I have to be here and listen to people like Pete Pilati bragging about basketball once again for the first time since 1994. This is going to absolutely destroy me. I cannot watch the Knicks win. I don't know how you do it when my Eagles win. That must be awful.
It is.
Yeah, it's
right
awful.
there for the Super Bowl when
It's
they
awful to
James
see
Bradbury holding call.
It's awful to see your coworkers succeed in sports. It's the worst feeling when you're not winning.
No, I just want you to be either all in or all out.
I'm all out.
You're half on the boat here, and that's what bothers me.
I'm consistently rooting for the Knicks to lose.
No, your team. I'm like, are you in or out on your team? See, the fact you can't even answer that is an indictment on you.
They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. Even when Embiid is relatively healthy, I'm realistic. That's not. Are you allowed to say when your team is clearly not good, you're allowed to say, should I be hopeful and blindly optimistic?
Then I don't want to see tweets about bad calls and about getting hosed and this and that. Because
or they can't hit 23s again.
Yes,
that's not repeatable.
If it doesn't matter and you've already conceded the series, then I don't want the kvetching and all of the you-know-what on social media. You can't be one person there and another person here. You're the same person.
Well, he knows they're losers, so he's getting off the bandwagon. I can understand that.
No, but he's not. But then he's on the
But I'm still allowed
bandwagon
to
during the game.
I'm allowed to rip the Knicks fans for over-celebrating a Game 1 win.
Well, there I'll meet you because that's a little crazy.
The best player on the Knicks didn't do anything in Game 1. I mean, I think Knicks fans are within their right to celebrate that victory.
Yeah, but
that's why you're celebrating because Jalen Brunson was 6 for 28. Let's have a parade.
I know, but here's the thing: you're the second seed, so you can't really I get it when the Knicks were like the scrappy underdogs. Now you're not really. You're the second seed.
Number
of the
2
East.
seed.
Look, as a fellow millennial and watching other millennials and Gen Zers be the one that are screaming Knicks in 4 and F Trae Young, which by the way is like 3 years old at this point. It's like when you're babysitting a 9-year-old nephew. And you just watch him. You watch the chaos unfold, and you're like, "This isn't right." But I'm just gonna let it unfold. I'm just gonna let it happen. You let it happen.
I'm blaming it on the weed and the alcohol. And New York has gotten very relaxed with their drug laws around here, and so I think everyone's just totally blitzed.
It's not
that's
really
just you, Maggie, as you're watching cartoons in the afternoon.
Sorry. Also, I'm also a millennial. Did I mention that? I'm an older millennial.
So. Yeah, but a lot of fan bases do win Game 1 and act like they've been there before. And the Knicks have won a Game 1 before. They've won series before. They won the first round last year.
Yeah.
Why are they overreacting to this?
I don't know.
What is going on with Knicks fans? I don't understand.
They're excited.
I mean, EJ doesn't even come to work anymore.
He's gone.
He's just following the Knicks around in a van like the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I do not understand this fan base at all. You're right, Maggie. There's a 2 seed. They have a really good chance to go to the finals. What do you care if you beat Game 1?
And Pete's suggestion is a nuanced thought that they're extra excited because they won without prime Jalen Brunson. That's why they were burning things outside that reason.
You're a Net fan. You should have no right to say anything.
No, but you know what I am? I'm an actual basketball fan. This has come out of nowhere. You parachuting into NBA conversations, poo-pooing Damian Lillard.
I said from the beginning that I'm a Knicks fan. The NBA, whatever they've done with the tournaments and whatnot, is the worst thing for basketball.
Did you watch on Saturday?
I did. I sat on the couch and watched the whole thing.
Okay.
Wait, can we pause for a second on the imagery that Andrew Bogusch was just relaying, which is the idea of EJ in like a tie-dye shirt, just like out of a Volkswagen bus,
It's my Dave Matthews Band fan.
Right.
I lent it to him for the for the tournament.
Opens up the sliding door with just like smoke coming out. EJ's the most straight-laced person we have here, but that's funny.
By the way, Pete, I know one player you do like. You're definitely a Kyrie Irving fan, I assume.
Yeah, get lost.
Kyrie Irving. Anything more predictable
Take
on
a
Earth?
hike.
What if LeBron came to your beloved Knicks? What would you do then?
No.
Oh, okay.
Relinquish.
No, he shouldn't be here.
James Harden, you a fan of him?
No, none of these guys. all these guys with their rest time.
Yeah, if you don't like Dame, you sure ain't gonna like James Harden.
I need a rest day after playing 48 minutes.
I'd be careful here, Mr. 4-day work week.
I'd
be careful with this line of questioning.
Look at the checks. All right, look at the paychecks. I can take my days
almost
off.
Left the studio. He just owed like a dunk.
Right. When you walk out at 10:45 in the morning, what exactly are you doing at that point?
Look at your check and my check, all right?
Bogusch does have to stay here longer than all of us.
Forever.
Why are you here so long?
I don't know. We've got a new boss. I'll try to trick him into letting me leave early. It hasn't worked in the previous two.
I was here late the other day, and people were like, "What are you still doing here?" And then Bogusch walks by. He's like, "No, par for the course."
Still had 45 minutes to go, and Maggie left.
I like when I'm walking home and Bogusch is wearing his jacket and sadly walking to lunch. The lunch options are terrible around here. I'm like, "Oh, are you headed home?" No, going to lunch.
Going to find my second meal of my workday.
Getting a $17 salad.
Just wanted to see daylight for a second.
And experience a little bit of joy. What are we doing here? Headlines?
Sure, why not?
All right.
I might get pizza.
Oh, you're going home? That must be great.
Yeah.
Speaking of paychecks, not sure what it pays to be Maggie or Perloff, but if it's a lot, I've got an investment idea for you, Maggie. As you well know, the Pagula family confirmed on Friday they're open to selling a portion of the Bills. We don't know the exact percentage available, but most people are guessing 25%. They're also guessing the Pegulas are looking for some outside cash to help cover any cost overruns for their new stadium, with some projections saying the team might be on the hook for about $600 million. The question we don't know, though, sometimes when these deals happen, the new ownership has a path to becoming the ownership. And we don't know yet if that's going to be part of this deal, which I guess makes it hard to know what the Pegulas can get for 25% if it's just a portion and that's it.
Right. I think this is a couple things. They're also looking into selling some of the other teams, apparently, some of their minor league teams and stuff like that. Pegulas basically own sports in Western New York. They own the Sabres, too. They own everything. Now, Kim Pegula has also been sick for a while, and she was really out front in front of the scenes, and she really hasn't been. So I think the Pegulas have been good owners. For the most part, I think they have been good owners. If this is really to try to save them from having to gouge the state of New York for more money and the citizens, I'm fully on board with that. Here's my fear of who this person is going to be. Is it possible it's Trump?
What? He could get into he tried to buy, did he try to buy them? Or who?
Yeah, he did. He tried to buy the Bills.
You're telling me he's going to get 20% of the Bills right now? No, the NFL wouldn't do that in a million years.
But if he loses, I don't know if he's going to lose the election. He might win the election. Who knows? I don't want to get political. But if he does lose, he's going to be looking for something, right? I mean, I know he's got a lot of legal bills and stuff like that.
Right, but didn't he just not have money for whatever that court payment was? I mean, how's he going to front a chunk of NFL money?
This guy's been in our lives for 40 years, and who knows how he ever has any of this money, and yet he always seems to come up with something. It's so crazy to me.
Honestly, like, if he's going to pick a team, it's not going to be Buffalo, right? Like, he's going to want to go somewhere where people like it.
No, but, people in Buffalo
they might
like
it. But
him,
I think he hates New York State right now. I know he lives here, but he's screwed them over so badly.
I just think if you want to get in, though, these opportunities don't come up very often. So sometimes you can't choose. Like David Tepper was the minority owner of the Steelers. They're never going to be for sale. So he went and bought the Carolina Panthers when they became for sale. I don't think he wanted to buy the Panthers. He just wanted to buy anything.
I think you can get in a minority ownership. I think you can buy chunks of teams.
But,
and honestly,
but on the path to full ownership, I don't know.
Oh, right. But okay, that gets back to, is this on the... It doesn't strike me. I'd be shocked if the Pegulas really let go of this thing. Why would they not sell more of it? Why not sell it now?
I don't know. But the other part is I know that, the whole, kneeling SOBs, that whole thing when Trump was president the first time didn't go over well with the NFL. But again, a lot of these owners are like his friends, aren't they? I mean, this is the waters that he swims in. So that was the first place my brain went.
I'd give it somewhere between 0.0 and 0.0 chance Donald Trump buys into the Bills. That's just not happening.
I would have given it 0% chance he'd ever be president of the United States, and here we are, maybe on the verge of
this seems less likely than
when
that,
he was non-controversial, he couldn't build it. This seems way less likely. Like, yeah, he'll win the presidency, but he's definitely not getting 20% of the Bills.
We have standards.
Listen, this is important stuff. Like, anybody could be president. There's no requirement for that. This is the NFL.
So who else do you think it's? Do you think it's to be someone we know?
No.
That's 20% feels like some capital, like some hedge fund guy, right?
It could be, but again, you had minority owners in Washington, D.C. who at one point tried to stage a coup to try to get Daniel Snyder out, and they were the ones who were really influential in getting FedEx to essentially start pulling money. So minority owners can do something. I don't know if it would be that way. There's nothing hostile, I don't think, going on in Buffalo, but you got to keep an eye on the minority owners.
Aren't there hundreds of minority owners that we don't even know?
Yeah,
I actually don't.
25% is a pretty big stake. Minority owners are usually like 2%, 3%.
Really? I did not know. I figured there were a lot of investors and all that. Like, for example, the Hornets have 50 different owners. And like an NBA, I know is a fact. There is a village for every team.
No, you walk around New York, everyone owns a little bit of the Bucks.
I did see, by the way, a story that hedge funds are trying to buy into the NFL. That's a new thing. So I think some anonymous investment group will buy it.
I got another one for you.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those hedge funds.
What about the Saudis?
Yeah, I don't think the NFL will go for that. Why do they need? They could just go. This is a very popular league. They could just get an American hedge fund.
I don't know.
What's the one called? The big one.
Axe Capital. That's all I got.
What's Axe Capital in real life? Is it Blackstone?
Wait, Axe Capital. Aren't they in the show? Aren't they always getting in trouble or no?
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah, but so are the real ones.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna wish that upon my team? Although I don't, the Saudis aren't much.
So it's Blackstone, right? They're definitely no. First of all,
Wait,
there's
what
gonna
if
be
the
evil money.
what if the black-haired lady from
the tarot card
is
reader?
this person coming in now to mess things up? Did she have a timetable on that effect?
Well, when the tarot card reader Angela came in, I asked the tarot cards, "Will the Bills win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years?" And she said no, because of a black-haired lady.
You really need a tarot card reader for that insight.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
The team that hasn't won in 55 years. Maybe you needed a bigger window, Maggie, for that question.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
If there is a new owner, I will just ask that they hire people to shovel out snow in January and December before playoff games so that the suckers that live in Buffalo don't volunteer to do it for a bottle of Coke and $2.
They pay them.
And some Papa
They
John's.
love it, too. They're thrilled to do that, it seems like.
It's good. It's good for the back.
Yeah, thrilled to do it, to watch their team lose every year.
Wow. They beat the Steelers in that particular game, but yes, then they did go on to lose to the Chiefs, as they generally do in the postseason.
Yes, very tough to beat Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, well.
I'm looking at some of the potential. You got Bridgewater Associates, Citadel, and AQR Capital. The level of evil that they can insert into this position, they'll make you forget
They'll move
about
the team. Well, not with the new stadium.
No,
Not with the new
20%.
stadium.
That's the thing. I think there are a lot of minority owners out there. And Hochul is basically our governor would run in front of a bus for the Buffalo Bills. It's all she seems to care about.
Yeah, well, she's from Buffalo, and that's what we care about up there.
How she got elected, I have no idea.
I ask
don't
that
think
question every day.
I don't think people understand that, the Bills is their number one priority, and the millionth is the New York City school system.
I'm okay
Anyway.
with that. No.
People like Maggie.
I'm a Bills fan.
How she got these votes?
I'm a Bills fan who lives in New Jersey. I'm totally okay with this.
Yeah. Anyway,
Wow,
we're
gonna
not to
have
get
to hang up on
political.
us.
We're getting so political here, but yeah. Well, I guess when it comes to NFL team ownership, Donald Trump is not buying the Bills, Maggie. That would be the most shocking headline. By the way, if he has, I will eat so much crow, but I just can't see that. It sounds so radical to me. Donald Trump buys 20% of the Bills. By the way, I just drove by his golf course the other day off the Whitestone.
Yeah.
No longer the Trump links.
Really?
Because New York hates Donald Trump.
Oh, is
Because he
that part
screwed
of it?
them. Yeah, because he screwed them on the tax deal. He said you can't take your state taxes out of the federal. So anyway, he's not well liked in the sports community here.
All right. Well, I'm just going to let you know that in Buffalo and in Western New York and upstate New York, we care very little about New York City.
Right. And that's why
Right back at you.
Might as well be a different country.
That's why, honestly, they got to get her out of office fast. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
There's no politician I probably dislike more than Kathy Hochul.
We pinky swore we'd never do politics on this
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Now you're anti-Kathy
But it's
Hochul.
sports. The fact that my tax dollars go to a Buffalo stadium that's not even indoors to help your team win, this is insane. It's the most insane expenditure I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, man, we got a lot more suggestions in the chat. Elon Musk, I don't think he's getting into football.
Well, I was always shocked that Bezos didn't buy the Commanders. That was weird.
I think he was holding out for the Seahawks.
I mean,
People thought it was D.C., but he's a Seattle guy. That's where Amazon's headquarters still are.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of connections to D.C. I can't remember what it
Well,
is.
he owns the Washington Post.
Yeah, and also too, I think he wanted them, but he could buy a team, and he wouldn't even barely have to open his wallet. He's worth how much? $350 billion or something?
I'm telling you, I think he's going to buy Seattle. But that's a dicey situation because of Paul Allen and the estate and who owns it. So, did I leave you any more time? No.
I'll tell you very quickly. Back half of the NBA quadruple header yesterday. The Bucks beat the Pacers 109-94 behind those 35 from that Cretan Damian Lillard. And we also had the Pelicans losing in OKC 94-92. Now back to you guys.
Let's just not forget everything that happened during this last segment. It was pretty glorious. 855-212-4227. Coming up, is one superstar doing damage to his legacy simply by being on the TV zone? Get to that next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Coming into the NBA playoffs, Damian Lillard and the Bucks were not getting a lot of attention. Giannis is hurt and they weren't playing well, but Dame exploded for 35 points in the first half to lead Milwaukee to a game-win win over Indy. Lillard never had a team that was dangerous in Portland. Now he may have a chance for a deep run. That would be... hold on a second. I'm going to do the whole thing again. Coming into the NBA playoffs, Damian Lillard and the Bucks were not getting a lot of attention. Giannis is hurt and they were not playing well. But Dame exploded for 35 points in the first half to lead Milwaukee to a game-1 win over Indy. Lillard never had a team that was really dangerous in Portland. Now he may have a chance for a deep run. That would be an unexpected but welcome storyline in the NBA postseason that frankly could use a little more juice. I'm Andrew Perloff.
Yeah, let's do the lineup pick. This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. This is Maggie Gray with a Sports Minute. Nelly Corda is on fire. The world number 1 of the LPGA Tour has won 5.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. One of the big takeaways, I think, from the first games of the NBA playoffs, Perloff, is Anthony Edwards. Wow. Impressive what Minnesota is able to do, taking out Phoenix in that first game. And when Durant specifically, Kevin Durant got switched on to Anthony Edwards and took him defensively as an assignment in the third quarter of that game, Anthony Edwards went 8 for 11, 2 for 3 from 3, and scored 18 points. He cooked Kevin Durant in that third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns played terrible. That being said, I don't think this series is totally over because I don't totally trust the T-Wolves yet. Even though they looked really good this game. I'd be curious how the Suns respond. Obviously, my guy D-Book did not hit his shots. Kevin Durant did, but he turned the ball over like a million times. I hope that the Suns make a better stand than this. If they repeat this would just be kind of an embarrassing ending to an embarrassing season.
Yeah, let's hear first from Anthony Edwards on his back and forth with KD in the third quarter.
I think everybody here knows that's my favorite player of all time, so that was probably one of the best feelings ever in my whole life, for sure.
Best feelings my whole life is cooking one of my idols. Anthony Edwards says this game was personal.
These guys came in here and whooped us in our home court the last game of the season and was giggling, laughing, like Bill said, he told our coach that he don't think we play hard enough, and he was right. You know what I mean? Like, Finchie didn't like that. He came in the next day and was like, man, you got guys on the other team telling me that y'all don't play hard enough for me, and he was totally right.
Wow. I mean, so I guess congratulations to the Suns. You gave all this bulletin board material and fuel to Minnesota, and this is like an Anthony Edwards moment. I don't know if he'll be able to keep this off Perloff, but you started a movie with him. He's obviously
great.
He's like got all the things that would make him a superstar in this league. He is a superstar, and if he has a massive playoffs, this is going to be Anthony Edwards' world that we're all going to be living in.
Totally, but don't you still have questions about this team? Like, can you really get behind Cat and Rudy Gobert?
No.
I mean, yeah, that's my problem. I have trouble sort of embracing it. I love Anthony Edwards, love his style play, love that he's a high flyer, love that dunk at the end of the game. Everything about him is amazing. I just don't trust this team. I can't help it.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't trust the Suns either. And
well, yeah, I mean, they're obviously, for obvious reasons. The T-Wolves have given you more reason to trust them, but I'm just saying, like, to me, the T-Wolves are more likely to disappoint than the Suns because the Suns aren't disappointing anyone because no one thinks they're going to do anything.
Okay, and that's crazy. So let's pause on that for a second because the Suns, who essentially moved heaven and earth to get the hand-picked selected superstars that they wanted to, right? Made it happen with Bradley Beal. Made it happen with Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant took 2 different trade requests in the same exact season to finally get himself to Phoenix. 4 first-round draft picks and 3 players all get traded because of Kevin Durant. And it's like, they're nothing. They don't have any juice. There's no fun stories. They're not even expected to be a contender. What happened here? This is such an indictment on the end of Kevin Durant's career and his legacy. I mean, it's been years now since we've really gotten anything from Durant. We're talking about after his Achilles. So we're talking about the 2021 season, 2022, 2023, and now 2023, 2024. This is if Durant's really an all-time player, you can't have 4 seasons that mean nothing at the end of your
but his
career.
numbers have still been good. I don't think anyone, after the Achilles, nobody expected him to lead a single team. No one thought he was...
With Kyrie, that was hailed as that was going to be something special.
Right. But it became evident pretty quickly there that was not going to work.
No, but he had torn his Achilles before he got there.
Yeah, no, I'm saying after the Achilles, I think the bar moved after the Achilles there. I don't think he was I have to win a title to keep my legacy up guy. Because nobody really, people thought KD was single-handedly. I mean, they were by the time he actually got to the playoffs in Brooklyn, they were a huge underdog, and he almost single-handedly led them against the Bucks. That was probably the most impressive thing he's done his entire career.
And that was a second-round matchup.
Yeah.
They had Kyrie, Durant, and James Harden.
Right, but everyone knew they were never on the court at the same time.
They weren't, but see, the thing is about the Achilles is Durant tore the Achilles in the finals when he was still part of Golden State.
Right, in 19.
And when he chose to go to Brooklyn to team up with Kyrie, the expectation there was title. And the Achilles was already torn.
But then Kyrie ran into all sorts of problems, and Harden eventually ran into all sorts of problems. So I think, remember that Milwaukee series, that was a heroic underdog. He was like David versus Goliath in that series.
I remember.
So I feel like he's not the Goliath anymore. He's the David. He's sort of an underdog.
Oh, but that's disrespectful to him to call him the David. He's one of the top 15 players ever, maybe.
Well, right, but after the Achilles, I just don't think it was really. I don't think the bar was there. Like nobody thought, like, oh, if he doesn't win in Phoenix, it's a huge huge disappointment. If you thought that, you were out of your mind.
I think that KD has to own these failures because he chose to team up with Kyrie, and they chose to put pressure on the organization to get James Harden. Kyrie was not the innocent, or Durant's not an innocent bystander while the Nets front office moves heaven and earth to get James Harden. Who do we think wanted James Harden? Clearly it was Durant.
Yeah, but he still played really well in that Bucks series. That was a great moment for him.
He was there longer than just the Bucks series. He was there for multiple years and never did anything.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Crazy what's happening at the top of the draft. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. The NFL draft is on Thursday. Get started, Perloff, and now we're seeing some odds changing. And the reason why these odds are changing for one quarterback, at least at the top of the draft, is for a very unique reason. JJ McCarthy, his odds to go to the Washington Commanders at 2 on FanDuel have gone from 20-1 to 11-1, basically overnight.
Yeah, there seems to be this weird buzz about JJ McCarthy that just not going away. We all felt like the magic carpet of JJ McCarthy's draft rise would be pulled out from underneath us at some point because he never really threw the ball at Michigan, small detail for an incoming quarterback. But the fact that it's still surging strong to me says this dude is going high.
Yes.
Like you can't deny it anymore. Usually pre-draft rumors are just that, rumors. They don't mean anything. But we've never seen a guy be this sticky. For example, last year, Will Levis was a faller. A lot of people had him in the top 5.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been as persistently linked to teams like JJ McCarthy. Will Levis was like, Mel Kiper loves him. He's big, got a strong arm. Didn't have good college stats. But so maybe he'll go high. JJ McCarthy is not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how many times we actually say anything negative about him. Somebody up there loves him. And now Washington number 2. Although if I'm Washington and I really love JJ McCarthy, I might trade down. I think that would be a smarter ideal because it seems like the rest of the league likes Caleb Williams 1, Jayden Daniels 2, and Drake May 3. But there are these teams fascinated with this dude out of Michigan.
Yep. So the national champion at Michigan, but again, wasn't asked to do a whole heck of a lot. We did see some games where he really had to throw, most notably the game against TCU 2 years ago when that game became a bit more of a shootout. But and they end up losing that game. But here's the thing, right? The reason why the JJ McCarthy odds are going up is not because all of a sudden I think teams are seeing something more in him or something like that. I think it's specifically because of Jayden Daniels, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, who it appears was not so happy with how the Washington Commanders did their recent prospect visits. And what they did was they brought in a lot of prospects, 20 or more, including 4 quarterbacks. So it was Jayden Daniels, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner out of LSU. It was also Drake May. It was also JJ McCarthy, and it was also Michael Penix Jr. And they brought all of them in together, presumably to see maybe how they interact with each other, maybe to go back to back to back on whiteboards or interviews, or maybe it was just scheduling. We really don't know if there was a method behind the madness. But Jayden Daniels didn't appreciate it, or at least it appears he didn't appreciate it, and he's not come out to say otherwise. His agent on social media liking tweets that were critical of the Washington Commanders for how they handled these pre-draft visits. So that would lead me to believe that the agent's talking on behalf of the client. Usually your agent doesn't go out of their way to tick off an NFL franchise or play passive-aggressive mind games unless the client has signed off on it. Also, again, Jayden Daniels has his own social media. If he wanted to debunk any of this stuff, he could do that with one simple social media post. He has not done that either. So I think it's just because Jayden Daniels seems like he's not happy with the Commanders that now all of a sudden the JJ McCarthy door is now open. And if I'm Jayden Daniels, you're ruining it, dude. Don't do this. Don't be this guy. Don't be this guy who looks like you are being whiny or in your feelings because the Washington Commanders threw you a curveball. Jayden Daniels knows this already. He doesn't need me to tell him. You are going to get way bigger curveballs thrown at you in the NFL.
Yeah, it does seem like, the only thing I would say is this is not the first indication that Jayden Daniels does not want to go to Washington, because there's been the little sneaky things coming out about there's other teams that have been linked to him. And also, I understand what you're saying about avoiding competition. That's not good. But I do understand this idea that if you're a top quarterback, that you would want to have a big say in where you go. I can support that, because you are stuck with this team for 5 years, and really, in a perfect world, you would have the power to choose this team. So if his reason for not liking Washington is because he doesn't think it's the right team for him, then I completely respect that. And let's face it, there are a lot of teams that pick high in the draft that are not good spots. Generally, that's the rule, more than Trevor Lawrence has kind of gotten screwed over by being in Jacksonville because they hired Urban Meyer. If he'd had say, then he probably would have been smart to choose somewhere else to go to too. So maybe Jayden Daniels sees something behind the scenes in Washington he just doesn't like.
Okay, if it's such a no-brainer, though, for these quarterbacks who have leverage to use it in this way, why haven't we seen it since Eli Manning? And Eli Manning, when he decided that he did not want to go to the San Diego Chargers and instead forced his way to the New York Giants 20 years ago, also had a little bit of a buffer of, hey, my dad's Archie Manning, my brother's Peyton Manning. We clearly know what we're doing here. And I think that it was extremely awkward with Eli, and that was long before the social media age. And listen, maybe Jayden Daniels doesn't read social media, maybe doesn't care, but a lot of athletes do, and it can mess with their mentals.
Well, how do you know behind the scenes agents haven't pushed guys away from certain teams? We have no idea what's really happening.
But not quarterbacks at the top.
How do we know?
Because all the good ones keep going to these teams that are perennial losers. Like Trevor Lawrence went to Jacksonville and Joe Burrow went to the Cincinnati Bengals. Like Caleb Williams is going to the Bears. Those are tough situations, because the generational guys, like, the team's taking them anyway, and they know that. I mean, the Bears, Caleb Williams could come out and say, I hate deep dish pizza. The Bears are taking Caleb Williams. Like, they really have no choice. Yeah. So I think Caleb Williams, at a certain point, stepped back and said, hey, this is an arranged marriage. I got to go through with it. Maybe Jayden Daniels in number 2. Honestly, think about it this. Here's a question. If you were Jayden Daniels, would the honor of going number 2 overall be important enough to go there if you didn't like it? Or if you gave him a choice, go number 12 to the Broncos or 13 to the Raiders? I mean, it's a lot less money and it's a lot less prestige. But it seems to me, the way this is shaping up, this dude just wants to go to a team that he'll be happy on, which I can understand. Okay, but you also have to... You're taking a really big risk here that this could backfire in your face, because we thought that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson were going to get along famously in Denver. That imploded in 1 year. How many times have the Raiders been on the cusp of doing something and it's totally imploded in their face? I mean, the Raiders aren't exactly great history, and I get that, and you're in Las Vegas, but this is not a franchise who anytime lately has any kind of consistency in terms of being a winner. And Antonio Pierce could be a great coach, but he's also, just got the interim tag removed. Tom Telesco isn't exactly winning Executive of the Year awards anytime soon. So you're asking, you want to go, to a certain place. Again, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that being said, I could tell you 100 reasons the Commanders haven't done anything in forever. They have an owner who's a controversial owner in the sense that he did the process in Philadelphia when he was a Sixers owner, and Josh Harris. Now he's sitting in on all the interviews. He's being very interventionist. They have a defensive head coach in Dan Quinn, even though they have a very famous offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury. Like, there's a lot of reasons to think, oh man, this is not a great spot. I mean, on paper, Washington, I kind of like the new GM, Adam Peters. Hopefully he made some big signings this offseason, but it's not a great fit. I mean, I'm not sure anyone's dying to get to the Commanders.
Listen, you got Dan Snyder out of the building. We're talking about Jayden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner, who appears was not so pleased with the Commanders bringing in multiple quarterback prospects during his official visit, and might be in his feelings about it, and might also be trying to get his way to a different team, although that's just a little more people around Jayden Daniels. He's not come out and said any of this publicly. Right,
and they haven't come, let's just be clear, though. He put one emoji frown on Twitter.
Well, it's sometimes those actions are emojis worth 1,000 words. Pine Needles in the chat, YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. Still getting used to our new network, where Pine Needle says, oh my God, the owner wants to interview potential franchise quarterbacks. What an awful person. LMAO. Agree with him there. I think most owners do want to be in on those meetings. They all want to meet the quarterbacks. It doesn't mean he necessarily wants a say. Also, here's the thing for Jayden Daniels. How many years in a row, and you're an Eagles fan, so you know this, how many years in a row did a new team win the NFCs?
Oh, it was a while.
12 or something, right? So you're telling me you don't want to go to a division where the rotation churns and churns, so you always have a chance to make the playoffs, including the Commanders making the playoffs with Taylor Heineke a couple of years ago and taking Tom Brady to the wire in a wild card game. You want to go to the AFC West?
Well, it's a long.
Have fun with that and facing Patrick Mahomes twice a year.
It's a long career, though. I understand what you're saying. Like I think that's a bit of short-term thinking, but who knows? Like any of those, any division can get hot at any given time. Yeah, the Washington's line is not very good, and they have some serious problems there. There are a lot of reasons to think, Washington was.
Is the Raiders line good? Is the Broncos line good?
I mean, I think they have a lot more established players than. I think that they have a lot more invested in their lines than Washington. I don't think Washington has much going up there. They do have. Everyone says they have Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I mean that's good. They have Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler's an old running back. It's pretty good, but it's certainly not. This is not a walk-in mix and stir, and you got a contender right now. I think this team. There's a reason they have the number 2 pick. Honestly, the Raiders, you're out in the AFC West. I feel like there's a lot of offense. It's indoors. You're going to have Harbaugh there. It's just going to be exciting. I think you could do a lot. Jayden Daniels, I think Vegas is interesting to people. I honestly think Tom Brady might want to go there.
Okay, wait a minute.
I just think it's indoors.
Yeah.
You're going against, listen. The
Mahomes, Herbert, and whoever Sean Payton comes up with.
You can always get to the Chiefs defense. The Broncos defense, who knows what that unit's ever going to be. And the Chargers probably be better under Harbaugh, but they've been disappointing on defense. I feel like you can put up some big yards there.
Okay, but what are we talking about? Are you going to win anything? Or are you just going to put up fun numbers and be in a fun city?
Things change, Maggie. I think you could. You're afraid of Harbaugh. I mean, at a certain point, the Chiefs.
I'm afraid of Andy Reid.
I just think the Chiefs can't keep this going forever. No team's ever three-peated, and they're going to be the first team to three-peat. I just think at a certain point, it's going to be cyclical. No? I mean, you really think that the AFC West is going to be on top? We always get divisions wrong. Did you think that the AFC East, not you, but everyone thought the AFC East was going to be dominant last year? 2 years ago, everyone thought the AFC West would be the best division ever. Remember when Russell was? And it was terrible. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think you can predict that. And maybe the NFC East is good. They do have the Cowboys and the Eagles. Those are two veteran teams that are pretty good.
Well, this is what I would say about pick your poison here and be careful what you wish for and whatever other cliche I can say, because you go to the AFC West. I don't know if I really care what the Chargers or what the Broncos do. I know I've got Mahomes, and you can say all those years in the AFC East, all the other teams stunk, but Brady was there and he was consistent. And I think Mahomes, could they three-peat this year? I'm not sure about that, but are they going to be consistent? They're not going anywhere with Mahomes. He can even be injured and they'll still be good. So it's like he's unbreakable.
Yeah, but you can't base your whole draft strategy on avoiding Patrick Mahomes. That feels like
you can't. But I just be careful here what I wish for. You want to leave the Commanders so bad because you want to get yourself to Vegas. I would just be asking if you're doing it for the right reasons. And Devontae Adams is probably super fun to throw passes to.
Yeah,
but how much longer do I have Devontae Adams? And are we sure that the team might not want to move Devontae Adams at some point? I don't trust the Raiders. I don't.
So the Broncos have the 11th best offensive line, according to Pro Football Focus, who judges these things. The Raiders are 19, and the Washington Commanders are 27. I think this is a tougher spot than you're giving it credit for. They did sign a lot of guys this year, but they're all mid-level guys. This is not a great team.
Listen, I got news for you. It's going to be a tough spot. If you have a rookie quarterback, you're in a tough spot. It's like this is... not everyone's going to be CJ Stroud. That is way the exception and not the rule.
I just think if you're Jayden Daniels, you'll be like, oh, Devontae Adams, indoor stadium, a pretty good offensive line, a lot of investments. I think that you could do some things there.
Okay, so let's talk this out. We're talking about Jayden Daniels. If he doesn't want to go to the Commanders at 2 and he's going to try to force his way to get to another team, let's just hypothetical.
Yeah.
What has to happen between now, which is Monday at 8:13 a.m. Eastern time, and Thursday at, when is the first pick? Like 8:15 or whatever?
It's always annoying. You're like, we know it's Caleb Williams. Fast forward.
Of course, they're going to take their full 10 minutes, so that all the networks can run all their packages and stuff. What has to happen between now and Thursday for this to actually become a reality, where Jayden Daniels would somehow not go 2 overall or even 3, and he would try to get himself to the 11th, 12th, or 13th team picking in this draft? What has to happen?
Unless one of those teams are going to trade up. nothing has happened. All it has to do is this Ron Butler guy, the agent, has to pick up his phone, call the Commanders, and say, we're not coming.
And figure it out. You figure it out. Because then, again, if I don't have another team picked out, if I'm the Commanders, I could say, oh, you want to play hardball like that?
Yeah.
I'll send you to Siberia. I'm not going to send you where you want to go. I'll send you wherever I want, whoever's going to give me the best package.
Yeah, sure. Because I think he'd rather go anywhere. So, for example, first of all, if you're Jayden Daniels, you'd love to go. Minnesota is the prime spot, but you have an offensive coach, you have Justin Jefferson, you have great receivers.
Yeah.
So, I honestly, if he really doesn't want to go there, I think he's fine with that.
Okay, so you can go anywhere. You want to go to New Orleans?
Yeah, oh, heck yeah.
Okay, you want to go to Tennessee?
Yes. Why would you not want to go to those teams?
I don't.
Tennessee, maybe not, but still, you were just saying about the AFC West. Tennessee, that's a nice spot to be. New Orleans, for sure. Like New Orleans, that is indoors, and you will be wrecking the NFC South forever. You just out of LSU, I think that would be probably his number one choice.
Yeah, Dennis Allen is the worst coach in the NFL. The worst. And their team is old.
Yeah, but I don't think, honestly, there's no package to get from their 14, right?
I'm just telling you, you tell the Commanders, we're never coming to play for you, and you don't have another team picked out. Like Eli Manning had the Giants. This was all prearranged before the draft. You don't have someone, you might not like the answer of where your client ends up going, and then you've got to respond to your client. Like, congrats, you're going to the Jets.
I think he would take that too.
Sit behind Rodgers?
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen. But the thing is, there's only certain teams that would trade up to send a haul. There's not that many trades. No, I think he would put Washington below any of those teams. Or maybe, by the way, there's a very good chance he ends up getting drafted by Washington. Everybody,
we're not exactly starting on a great foot here.
Well, yeah, but this is all pre-draft noise. He could, once they draft him, then all that doesn't matter. He's going to go out there and play for them. But I think if he really didn't want to go there, and we do not know that because he's never said anything like this.
Go to Arizona.
If he really, yes, that'd be fire for him, right?
Outside of Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald, Arizona is where your career goes to die.
I don't know. Kyler Murray got a $185 million contract there.
Well, and where are they? And what's their standing?
I just think are
they going to make an impact at all?
But you understand why these places might be more attractive than the Washington Commanders. You're indoors, it's warm, you got big receivers, like there's a lot going on in all these. I mean, honestly, the Raiders.
Who are you going to in Arizona?
Well, did they get so? Oh, they're going to draft Marvin Harrison, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're not getting him because obviously they have a $100 million quarterback. They're not going to get him. Washington can't do that.
Well, this is how
any of these places have a lot more attractive things going on than Washington.
Okay, but pick your poison here. You would rather go to a place. If you're telling me you'd rather go to Arizona because you don't want to go to the Washington Commanders, that tells me you don't have any idea what you're doing.
I see what you're saying, but I think players want to be indoors, and I think Jayden Daniels is like, oh man, I can come and just ball out there and sort of rebuild this franchise. Where I think he wonders, oh, am I going to have the same chance to really shine in Washington? I think he's a little worried about that team.
Also, it didn't go great for him the last time he was in the state of Arizona.
Oh, Arizona State?
Yeah.
I mean, he had some moments.
It's fine.
But
definitely had some reports that came out that teammates didn't think he was a leader.
Yeah.
That was
he's certainly
he's overcome that, obviously.
He's a West Coast guy. I think that that's another thing too. Maybe does not want to be. Washington's not a great spot. They just have a traditional losing. Maybe things will turn around real quickly with this new franchise. But honestly, if this was a year ago and it was the old regime and Ron Rivera, you and me and everybody else would be saying, yes, don't go there. Don't go. So we think that they've changed. I'm not so sure.
Coming up, we have your calls, 855-212-4227. Do you like that Jayden Daniels, if he's trying to get himself to a different team? Do you like this move? You like this sort of player kind of asserting themselves? Hey, why should I have to go to Washington? To me, I don't love it. If it really is true that he didn't like that the other quarterbacks were in the building, you're going to have to handle a lot bigger stuff than that, dude. It's a job interview. You got to put your best foot forward. 855-212-4227. We've got Arch Manning news. We'll get to that next. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds. Sorry, welcome back to Maggie Perloff. It just dawned on me where we are in life. Maggie, Gray, Andrew Perloff.
Maggie and I were just complaining about how expensive apps are these days. That's where we've come.
Away.
That's where we've come as a society. But I'm really still fired up.
Charge me $30 a year to tell me what tree is in my front yard? Come on.
Welcome aboard. Yeah, I'm so fired up about this Jayden Daniels topic. I think it's unfair that you are criticizing Jayden Daniels for allegedly not necessarily being thrilled about the way Washington Commanders are doing their process for choosing a quarterback. They had all 4 quarterbacks in the building at the same time. I don't understand. Why are you on the Commanders side? It's more likely to me, having watched Jayden Daniels last year and having watched the Commanders for the last 20 years, that the Commanders are screwing this up, not the draft prospect. I lean draft prospect. If he doesn't want to go there, then I totally get it.
Yeah, I think that this is why it bothers me for Jayden Daniels, because first of all, I don't think the agent is putting out passive aggressive stuff if the client isn't really unhappy. That'd be such a leap. You'd be doing such a disservice to your client if you did that and created a news story.
I mean, there probably are some emotional agents who've made some missteps through the NFL history, but I agree. I understand what you're saying. I'll take that.
I think it's coming from Daniels, and I just think that it could be seen as sort of the idea that Jayden Daniels was miffed because Washington didn't roll out the red carpet for him. Right. And that he maybe thought, I've got this thing in the bag already. So what are we doing with these other losers? Why are these other schmoes here at Topgolf when I'm the one who should be getting all the attention? And I don't know if I love that. You haven't taken one snap in the NFL. Congrats. You're a Heisman Trophy winner. You had an all-time season last year. What was it? 40 touchdowns and 5 picks. Awesome season. Yep. You haven't done jack. And neither has Caleb Williams. None of these guys have yet. And so the idea that this could be promised to you, or that you think you earned it already, or dare I say deserve it already, that to me, I think that's not what I want in my quarterback. I want somebody who's still going to fight for this, not the moment I throw a curveball at you, you all of a sudden are in your feelings potentially and want to tuck your tail, and I want to go to the Raiders now. I mean, come on.
Pure speculation. That's totally. There's not a single real indication that he's done any of that.
Pure speculation on my part.
I honestly think.
But why do you think the agent came out to? The agent's not speculation. The agent was definitely upset.
I think there's a real chance that they don't want to go there. Then maybe they're trying to manipulate the situation and get out of there, which I understand. And I think, honestly, more players should do. In fact, I think Caleb should have at least considered that. I think Caleb was screwed. He knew the Bears were going to take him no matter what. So he said, I'm going to play ball. You know, it's funny because Colin Cowherd came out with this report that Caleb Williams' camp did not want to go to Chicago. Then immediately gets 5 calls from his camp saying
they
that's a lie.
It right away.
Which is odd, and we're all smart enough to know like that was a PR move, because not that I believe Colin Cowherd reports, but I do believe generally Caleb Williams was not thrilled the way the draft lined up in Chicago. I don't think he wanted to go to Chicago. It's outdoors, it's cold. They have a tradition of not passing the ball. They have Matt Eberflus as their head coach. But he realized, hey, I better play this PR war. So my point is there's a lot going on behind the scenes with these quarterbacks. I think it's an assumption that he was upset about that Topgolf thing. It might be that he just doesn't want to go to Washington.
Okay, but again, the agent definitely put it out there. Let's hear from Adam Schefter. This is what he said about Jayden Daniels, the camp not being happy with the visit to the Commanders.
Well, it didn't seem to go over too well with the agent for Jayden Daniels, Ron Butler, who sounded off on social media last night that he didn't seem particularly pleased with the process. I think Jayden Daniels thought it would be a visit with just him, meeting with the Commanders. Many people think that Jayden Daniels will wind up being the number 2 overall pick, but the Commanders essentially opened up the process.
Again, like I just think you can't look at what happened, and if that is indeed why Jayden Daniels was, a little miffed, or the camp was miffed, deal with it. Again, deal with it.
I mean, unless you don't want to go to Washington.
I guess, but again.
And, there does seem, the team that keeps on mentioning, Antonio Pierce, who's the Raiders coach, did recruit him. That's a strong relationship. Want to hear from Adrian in Maryland, who has some thoughts on Jayden Daniels. Adrian, help us out here. Explain to Maggie what's going on here.
Yes, mansplain this to me.
Well, I'm sorry, Perloff. Maggie's right.
I knew you were going to say that.
He can't get in his feelings about that. It's a job interview. They're gonna interview, and don't forget, Washington went through the same thing with RG3. RG3 came on the scene, won the Heisman, went to Washington, played 2 good years, and then he's gone. So they're just doing their due diligence and checking everything out and seeing if this is the right guy. Now, if any other team wants to go up and get Daniels, they're going to have to sell the farm. They're going to sell the farm to Washington, which is crazy because this guy hasn't taken a snap in the league yet to say, I want to go here, I want to go there. The thing I think is the portal is doing this to these guys because they get in the portal and they get to go wherever they feel like going.
But should they,
the NFL.
Adrian, should they be able to go where they want to go? If you were coming out of college and you had a choice between 3 different companies, you would get to choose. Possibly. It's not this NFL system where you have to go to a team is basically unfair.
That's if the company wants you. If the company wants you, you get that choice.
But there's 30 teams that want Jayden Daniels, so why does he have to go to the Commanders? It's basically, when you pull back, it's not great.
It's the NFL. We've gone through this for who knows how many years. It's the NFL. Eli did it. Eli's just a mediocre quarterback. The team around him made Eli better. So you can't use that Eli philosophy. Oh, Eli made him go. He got to go to the Giants and stuff. He was a mediocre quarterback.
Well, the other thing about Eli, I think having Archie and Peyton helped. Adrian, thank you so much for the phone call. Appreciate that. And Ernie Accorsi could probably be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, their general manager was fantastic. Want to hear your thoughts on Jayden Daniels, 855-212-4227.
By the way, I kind of agree with that. I never understood why was Eli the number 1 pick that year. I didn't understand that because he was not that good at Ole Miss. Like Jayden Daniels at LSU was twice as good as Eli. But Eli was the one, I think you just nailed it. I think the Manning name enabled him to do this because he was not nearly the college player Jayden Daniels was. Not even in the same category.
Noted Giants fan Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. Hello.
Hello again. So one-time NBA star Michael Jordan is now a NASCAR owner exclusively, and he says NASCAR races like yesterday at Talladega are his new playoff games. So MJ, the owner, pumped yesterday when Tyler Reddick won the Cup Series race on Fox.
I'm all in. I love it. You know, it replaces a lot of the competitiveness that I had in basketball, but this is even worse, because I have no control. If I was playing basketball, I have total control, but I have no control, so I live vicariously through the drivers and all the crew chiefs and everybody. So, I'm very happy for 23-11, 110%.
Now, apparently, this is the first time Jordan has seen one of his drivers win in person. They usually make him stay away because they think he's bad luck, but yesterday he talked himself into Talladega and was there to see this happen.
2 things on this. One, Jordan being a good racing owner and not being a good NBA owner is one of the all-time ironic things ever. 2, I don't know the rules about this, but if Michael Jordan can bet on his own drivers to win this race, how much money do you think was riding on that? An obscene amount.
Yeah.
What are we
6
talking
figures.
about? And high 6?
Yeah.
I have no idea if he can bet on his own
Definitely
drivers,
can't. Definitely can't.
Well, of course he can. Why not? I mean, you can bet if you're going to bet on somebody. I hope you would bet on your own driver. You're saying owners are not allowed to bet?
I don't think so.
Can you bet on your own sport in any league?
Yeah. Well, doesn't Floyd bet on himself in boxing?
Boxing is not an organization like NASCAR is.
Oh, okay. I'm
assuming they've got.
I thought it was like Floyd Mayweather situation. Okay.
I mean, unless NASCAR's gone rogue, none of the other leagues let you bet on anything involving.
Yeah, you can bet against yourself, I guess.
But maybe Ipe's guy is taking side bets from Michael Jordan. It's possible.
As for actual NBA playoff games, this is great to see. James Harden, 28 points, 8 assists as the Clippers took Game 1 from the Mavs, 109-97. His head coach, Ty Lue.
When he's scoring the basketball and making the right play, it's huge. And so he understands that he doesn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting when Kawhi and PG both are on the floor, but one of those guys are out. He has to step up and be aggressive to score the basketball. And so that's what he's been doing for us as of late.
The one of those guys being out, shockingly, Kawhi Leonard, his swollen right knee, still didn't play last night. No Zion, so the Pelicans lost their opener in OKC, 94-92, and no Giannis, but the Bucks dumped the Pacers 109-94 in their opener in Milwaukee, despite a scoreless second half from Damian Lillard, because he scored 35 in the first.
In any playoff series, you want to get off to a good start. Games are hard enough, so you don't want to come out slow and you don't want to wait. You want to, have your pace. You want to be sharp, be connected, and be aggressive. So that was my mentality.
The NBA told us their award finalists yesterday. It's Jokic, Luka, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for MVP. Victor Wembanyama's up for Rookie and Defensive Player of the Year, and Most Improved Player, which is not Comeback Player of the Year, Tyrese Maxey, Kobe White, and Alperen Şengün of the Rockets. There were 4 game ones on ice yesterday. The Canucks topped the Preds 4-2. The Jets outscored the Avalanche 7-6. The Panthers held off the Lightning 3-2. And the Rangers scored 3 times in just over 2 minutes in the second to fuel a 4-1 win over the Caps. And since Pete so-and-so told me to leave out the Islanders, they lost their game 1 in Carolina on Saturday.
Go scratch.
3-1. Parental morality aside, Scotty Scheffler had to sleep on a 5-shot lead with 3 holes left for him in Hilton Head because of a long rain delay yesterday, which meant they couldn't finish the final round before darkness. Play has resumed this morning, and the lead is 4. It's about to be a win. Scheffler's on 18 at 20 under par. Again, 4 shots clear the field. So he'll win $3.whatever million and then go home and see when that kid is actually born.
And his wife's also at 5 centimeters. Get there, Scotty. She's crowding.
Yeah, unless his wife might call him now. He'll be on the green. Oh, I'm such a good husband. I only have 1 putt left here. Let me leave.
Stop. And then,
bunch of baloney.
And then there's 15-year-old Miles Russell. He made history on Friday by becoming the youngest to make a cut on the Korn Ferry Tour, which is the PGA's version of AAA. Then yesterday, Russell shot a final round 66 to finish in a tie for 20th. He's now the youngest player to finish in the top 25 of a Korn Ferry or PGA event since at least 1983. He, of course, is an amateur, so no money for all of this, but he can now play again this week on that Korn Ferry Tour.
Wait, how old is he?
15.
15.
Finished tie for 20 with men.
Wow.
I always used to think the Korn Ferry Tour, spelled Korn, had something to do with the band Korn when it first came up. Not so much.
It's a backwards K.
Yeah. I just always feel like Korn, when you spell Korn with a K, you're asking for trouble. But that's all I got on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Baseball.
By the way, women have won. Women golfers come in pros that age, right?
Like Michelle Wee?
Yeah, like Michelle Wee.
Maybe a little bit older. 15 sounds tennis 15-year-olds for sure.
Yeah. Wait, I just think that Perloff thinks that golf would also have something to do with Korn, whose most famous song is Freak on a Leash.
Yeah.
You think that's what the golfing
I always thought it was
thing's
strange.
going for?
I thought it was strange that Korn and golf went together, but
I'm sorry, it's not a backwards K, it's a backwards R.
Right.
Korn. My bad. All those years watching them on TRL, I should have known better.
When I was rocking out to Korn at Woodstock 99, I was thinking about golf.
Wait, were you at Woodstock 99?
No, of course not. Have you ever seen the documentary on that?
have.
It was 400,000 Limp Bizkit fans. That was the last place on earth I would ever find me. It's Woodstock 99. There wasn't
It'd just be funny if you were wearing the same outfit you're wearing today. It's just like major substitute teacher vibes today.
Where's Pavement, guys? What stage are they on?
No. They were probably at Woodstock 94, but Woodstock 99 was not the same.
I guess they were at Woodstock 94.
My bad.
Not 99.
Were you at that one?
No. They weren't at Woodstock 94, but they played Lollapalooza in the 90s. But Woodstock 99 was like the Limp Bizkit Korn tour.
Right, where you couldn't get any water.
Yeah. No, they just went to like hard rock and pop bands instead of like, whatever Woodstock.
No, and then also didn't they have like a ironic? Who sang ironic? Alanis Morissette.
But
doing some random set in the middle of Woodstock 99.
Woodstock, is history of peace, love, and understanding. Went with Korn and Limp Bizkit. We're the exact opposite of peace, love, and understanding. It's just an incredible set list. I think Green Day.
Rage.
Rage. Well, Rage at least has some politicals, but Woodstock 99, it's a great documentary. You're right. There's no water, and Korn got up there, and everyone's like, "Let's burn the place down."
Yeah, just like the Korn Ferry.
Just
tour.
like that's the amateur
Korn Ferry
tour.
League.
They learned their lesson.
Why do you think they call it the Korn Ferry Tour?
I think Korn Ferry is something.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry. How could I know?
We need to make golf more metal.
You don't need. I think Korn Ferry is something. Deep analysis there.
Well, you just thought it was a rock band, so I thought that was a sufficient answer to your question.
Can you name another person who spells corn with a K?
The Korn Ferry people.
Korn Ferry.
They're consulting.
Oh, no.
Not both.
No, you want to know what they do? I think they help you find a new head coach, don't they? Are they part of those people who will help you, like, maybe I'm wrong.
Like McKenzie?
Like find a new general manager or something like that. Executive search firm. Yeah. I think they do stuff like that.
You're right.
So
Definitely.
you have them to thank for Dennis Allen at the Saints. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
They hired Doc Rivers as a Sixers head coach.
Yeah. The Corn Fairy. They manipulated that whole thing.
Yeah, the band Korn had nothing to do with any of this, by the way.
Thanks.
We were already there.
Yeah, just want to be clear.
Because this show's about facts.
Because most people, if you talk about you start talking about the Korn Ferry Tour, most people immediately their eyes glaze over. You talk about the band Korn, then we're getting some listeners back here, Bogus.
Is Pete a Korn fan?
Hold on.
You got to think about it.
That corn like the food?
Yeah. We're all on the same page. Nah.
Not really. I'll pick out the vegetables over there. I love Brussels sprouts. I'm a big Brussels sprouts fan.
That's an upset. I didn't see that.
What's wrong with that?
That checks out.
It checks out?
No, I'm
Pete
surprised.
Loves baseball, loves shows from 1970s, hates basketball, hates the modern day NBA, and likes Brussels sprouts.
No. I would think Brussels sprouts is way too adventurous for Bilotti. I'm with Maggie. That's a huge surprise.
I thought you'd be a broccoli guy.
I like broccoli too.
Okay.
And rice pudding.
Tapioca?
No.
That's a tough texture, guys.
Oh, tapioca.
Oh, you guys don't like I like tapioca.
Oh, the texture of that. You guys like flan too? Like that kind of
Ooh,
soft.
flan's good. Who doesn't like flan? You have a problem with flan?
Major. I don't love the texture. I don't like puddings and
You don't like
soft
pudding?
stuff. No, I don't. I'm a crunchy person.
You got a soft puddingophobia. whatever the legal term for that is.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
telling
sure
me if I walked in here with a chocolate pudding, you would say no thank you?
Ugh.
What about Jell-O?
Ugh. No.
Yeah, that's a phobia.
You think so?
Fear of things that jiggle.
Yeah.
Let me guess, Pat, you do not have this fear.
Let's take a break.
Not in the slightest.
I mean, how do you think he's going to get 12 kids that maybe one is an athlete? No. I like the milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. I'm just saying I don't like tapioca pudding. Do we have
Back
time
to you, Maggie.
Wait, what?
Mine is better than yours.
Things that jiggle, he said. Anyway, are we all out of headlines?
I mean, I could give you a baseball score, but I'm not going to follow.
I want to hear
anything
more
that jiggles.
Bilotti's
Baseball
power
score.
rankings of vegetables. I could deal with other vegetables. You're fat. You're endlessly fascinating. Seriously,
I told you.
endlessly. It's like an onion with many layers.
Who, me?
Except they don't go deeper towards the center. They just stay at some random level.
I thought you were going to do top 5 Pat's things that jiggle. I was like, no. That I've got to draw the line.
Apparently, Scotty Scheffler jiggles from our conversation last week about his dad bod.
I know. Well, that was Perloff
Yeah,
body shaming.
he looked better this weekend. I think he's some anxiety, weight loss.
You think he lost weight in 4 days
Yeah.
since Augusta?
No, I watched him this weekend. He was looking pretty svelte. Yeah, I think he's nervous about the kid coming. I had to read into that.
Well, I think the best advice for him, get a little more heavy metal in your life. Corn.
Like music or
Mercury. No, just swallow some alloys.
We're trying to bring this back, and it's never working.
never gonna work.
Every time we're trying to put a bow on this topic, we keep on going in another weird direction.
That was 15 years of professional broadcasting trying to bring that full circle and failing miserably. Good thing we have Arch Manning coming your way next. What did Arch do at the Texas spring game, and why I've got a plan for Arch that cannot fail? Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff doesn't understand why Jayden Daniels, if he doesn't want to be part of Washington and the Commanders, wouldn't just try to get himself to another team.
Yeah, I mean, I think more quarterbacks should do that. Generally, I think it's unfair that quarterbacks get stuck in bad spots. Not saying that Zach Wilson would have been good somewhere else, but he probably would have been better off avoiding the Jets, for example. And Trevor Lawrence got screwed having to go with Urban Meyer. Why do we not have a choice here? It's not a fair system. If it was any other walk of life, the draft would not exist, right? It's the only professional sport.
Okay, but this is also the business we've chosen. And this is the life that these players enter into this and sort of understand this is the way it happens. You might not like it. You might not think it's fair. Some guys have been able to manipulate where they've gone, like Eli Manning or a John Elway. But for the most part, if you don't want to get down and dirty, you got to get your hands a little dirty to make that happen. And Eli Manning definitely had to get his hands dirty there. It was very awkward when he manipulated himself from San Diego to the Giants.
Right, but I feel like quarterbacks are so much more powerful than every other player now. They take up most of the salary cap. They're a big deal now. All the attention comes down on them. If anybody should be choosing their destination, it's got to be the quarterback.
Bill is in California. Has got a thought on this. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mag. Good morning, Perloff. Perloff, I don't agree with you at all on this one. Maggie, I got you. Because as far as I'm concerned, these guys, they get into this business, like you said, Maggie. They know there's a draft. You got to go. The reason for the draft is to make the worst teams better and the better teams worse, so to speak.
Right.
But I hated it when John Elway did it. I hated it when Eli did it. But if you're going to get drafted, you go in and you decide you don't want to go to that team. If you're a senior, then you get out of the draft. You got to go back to college and you wait till next year. If you are a senior, you sit out until the next draft, and that's it. I mean, I don't believe these guys should be able to pick and choose where they go. When you get involved in it, you're going to get drafted. And if you want to be the best person in there and the team that's coming up for the first round or is going to take, number 1, number 2 pick, you got to live with it. That's the way it is. It's, It's just like playing the lottery. Maybe you get lucky, maybe you don't. But just because you're a Heisman Trophy winner doesn't mean you're going to be a good player anyway.
Yeah, but
Look at Marcus Russell.
What if you could just nudge the lottery a little bit so you get the better outcome? It's not like the lottery because it says at least you might have some agency.
I just believe you are playing football. You know that there's a draft. The whole point of the draft is to even kill things out for the whole league itself. And it's not like a regular job. You guys can go whatever radio station you want to. That's fine. You already know that.
Right.
But when you get into the football and you're going to get drafted, just like baseball or whatever, you're going to get drafted. You get drafted. You know there's a draft. You don't get to pick and choose. There's a draft. You do it. You go for it. If you're going to be one of these little, like I said, John Elway, Eli Manning didn't like that, burning the teams because of it. They should have to go where it's gone, or else there should be penalties to it. At this point, I can't remember if there is, but
no, there
like
isn't.
I mean,
Bill, because here's the thing.
You should have to go back to school.
And that's what Peyton Manning did. And Bill, thank you for the phone call. This is the famous story about Peyton Manning, where Bill Parcells, depending on which side of this you believe, but Bill Parcells wouldn't guarantee Peyton Manning that they would take him number 1 overall. That's one side of the story. Or maybe Peyton Manning didn't want to play for the Jets. We don't know. And he decided to go back to Tennessee for another year, and then obviously went to the Colts the next year. Listen, the thing about Daniels and why this I've been critical of it is because it appears that he just didn't like the fact that the Commanders brought all the other quarterbacks in for the meeting.
Wow.
How do we know that this has really been brewing? And meanwhile, if you don't want to go to the Commanders, but you're cool going to the New England Patriots right now with a Bill Belichick, Tom Brady double hangover, I would not do that.
Well, here's the thing, though. Maggie, you always like to think everyone's playing chess, not checkers. Yeah. Are you positive that it's as simple as, he didn't like the setup of the Top Golf game? Is it possible there are other more compelling reasons behind the scenes that have sort of soured Jayden Daniels on Washington. I mean, it's very possible that he looks at this situation to be like, the owner's in the meetings and it's Dan Quinn is the coach. I don't want to go here. I can understand that.
Okay, but if you want to go to the Raiders, get ready for Mark Davis to be involved. I mean,
people can't quit the Raiders. I don't get it either.
It's so true.
I mean, it's Vegas.
Man,
it's got that nice stadium. I mean, listen, Antonio Pierce he was the main recruiter for Jayden Daniels, not the head coach.
Yeah.
So there's a deep relationship.
Got Antonio Pearson in some trouble at the NCAA level.
There's a deep relationship there. So that's compelling. I mean, if a guy recruited me to college, I think that'd make a good case too.
Here's a question. You've brought this up a few times. You don't like the draft, right? You love the actual draft, but you don't like the system.
I would love to see someone sue the draft because I think that you could take that bad boy down in court. I love the draft, but I do think the system's unfair, of course.
Like, how do you actually think this is going to end in our lifetime? Like, we talk about the changes that come to college football all the time, and are they going to go to two basically separate leagues and all this stuff, like a super league? Change happens in our lifetime. You really think the draft? I think everyone loves the draft.
Everyone loves the draft. So the last time I really remember any noise, it was Glenn Big Dog Robinson was sort of talking about suing the NBA.
What year was that?
That was 95 or something. But I just think that basically it's unfair. If anyone did ever bother to sue this draft, it clearly is some sort of anti-competitive monopoly move to say you got to go to this city. Because it's really not fair to restrict your employees like that.
Yeah, but the whole NFL is like basically almost unfair monopoly. I know you have spring leagues, but obviously they enjoy a lot of perks.
Yeah, I just think I don't think it would withstand a huge court challenge. If anyone ever bought the problem is NFL players have such a short lifespan. You can't spend 5 years in court trying to get this system brought down. Listen, free agency until 1972, there was no free agency in baseball. These things do change eventually. You're right. The draft is so popular, it's hard to imagine it. But what if there was a Caleb Williams that said, I'm not going to Chicago. I'm just not doing it.
Well, we saw with Eli, and it didn't bring down the draft process.
But he was not Caleb, though.
It's interesting that is the transfer portal sort of changing the attitude
that could be.
Towards some of these top players. Like, if I don't like this, I'm just going to leave and go to a different team. 855-212-4227. Okay, I promised Arch Manning. We're getting to Arch Manning. Darn it. He was amazing over the weekend. There's still time for him to enter the transfer portal. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Might have something on our hands here with Arch Manning. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff, it was the Texas spring game over the weekend. You might wonder, guys, you got all this basketball, you've got all this stuff, hockey going on. Well, when Arch Manning throws for 355 yards in a spring game with 3 touchdowns, yes, also did throw a pick, you're going to stand up and take notice, mostly because Texas is a really good team. They went to the Final Four this year. Quinn Ewers, though, as the starter quarterback, is entrenched. There's nothing that's going to move Quinn Ewers off of this job. Now, Arch playing really well, and of course, it's the nephew of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, who was a 5-star recruit, or close to 5-star, but one of the most highly touted high school recruits that we've seen in some time. And so if Arch now is showing, Perloff, that he can take this step and he's looking really great in this spring game, we're all going to pay attention to this.
Yeah, but it's a spring game. And the other guy, whoever the third string guy, did great too. It's a spring game. What do you expect Arch to do?
Okay, well, here's what I expect. Not what I expect, but here's what I am going to posit to you.
Okay.
Now, Arch Manning has a different kind of calculus. We've been talking all morning about Jayden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner, and could he try to get himself away from the Washington Commanders if he doesn't want to go number 2 overall and get himself to a different team? This is shades of Eli Manning. And what Eli Manning did in 2004, he was able to get himself not to San Diego, but to the New York Giants, and the rest is history. There is special dispensations that happen when your last name is Manning. You're the first family of football. Not all the rules apply to you when you are a Manning. So, Arch Manning has this great spring game. Again, the 355 yards, the 3 TDs. Quinn Ewers was only played 1 series, I believe, in this game. It ended with an interception, but it didn't matter. Steve Sarkisian says nothing is going to move Quinn Ewers off of this starting job. The transfer portal is still open. Now, if Arch did want to leave, let's say he really is taking all these steps forward and let's just say, Perloff, he is ready for a starting job in college football.
Yeah, okay.
To sit for 2 years, 1 year I get, but to sit for 2 years, if you actually have the ability to play at this level, then it kind of feels a little bit like a waste. And I'm not saying that Arch has to rush his way to the NFL. I'm just saying you'd probably want to play because when you're QB1, you get way more snaps in practice.
Mm-hmm.
You just get way more, obviously, the playing time, but you just get so much more experience. And if you are somebody with designs on going to the NFL, you want all those reps. You want all that experience. And so the idea that Arch might try to, would at least take a peek at what other schools are doing, to me doesn't sound crazy. The transfer portal is open until April 30th. And so, again, if he really has shown that he's taken these big steps forward to start and to be QB1, I could understand anybody's sort of desire to not be a backup anymore.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean, Arch could have started last year though, and he decided to take this position where he'd be a backup. But you're saying
could he have started as a true freshman? Would have been a little harder.
Well, anywhere else in the country, probably, right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think he would have started at Alabama, even though they had a quarterback situation.
I think he probably would have started.
I don't know if he would have started, at Georgia.
Georgia's one spot beside Carson Beck, but I think he would have started most big time D1 schools. He just happened to be pinned behind a former number one recruit, as well. I think. I mean, Arch definitely. I'm not arguing. Arch easily could start right now, but he knew he went to Texas for a reason, knowing that Ewers was there, and I think he likes this situation. Also, he's only 18 still. He's obviously got tons of time.
Right, he's got time, and he can't go to the NFL anyway now.
Yeah.
But I would imagine if you are a competitor, the desire is to start.
Right.
And so with the portal now open, at least until April 30th, I think I have a spot that Arch Manning should try to look into if he wants to go ahead and start this year and quickly exit Texas and go somewhere else.
What do you got?
USC.
Okay.
USC, Southern Cal, you go with Lincoln Riley, who is basically the quarterback kingmaker, but going all the way back to Baker and Caleb Williams and Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. I mean, how many guys has he, ushered into the NFL draft? And, whatever you want to say about USC and the defense sucks and all of that, this dude knows how to coach quarterbacks. So you'd be going with a quarterback coach who can get you to where you want to go. The other part, Miller Moss, who is right now the starter, presumably, for USC, who's been there for 3 years and who was super impressive against Louisville in their bowl game, right?
Yes.
Through 6 touchdowns? Okay. If Miller Moss clearly had the job, they brought in Jayden Maivia, I'm maybe going to butcher his last name a bit, from UNLV to come in and compete with Miller Moss. So clearly, Lincoln Riley wasn't slam dunk, this is 100% happening with Miller Moss, or else he wouldn't have brought in another high-level recruit. To me, this means this job could still be open or up for grabs. So again, if I'm Arch Manning, and if I want to go somewhere where I can start right away because I've shown now that I can play on this level, and I don't want to sit behind Quinn Ewers for another year at Texas, USC, it's right there. You know that they're going to want him, and you get to play under Lincoln Riley.
I like the logic. It makes a lot of sense. And Lincoln Riley obviously would be a top choice. The only thing is, the reality is, it strikes me, of course, Lincoln Riley's been, he recruited Arch super hard. Of course, if USC thought they had a prayer in hell of getting Arch, you don't think they've tried this? You think they're like, I'm not sure about Miller. I assume but we're already in the mid-April. They already played the spring game. Like the Texas thing's happening, right? Like he kicked ass in the spring game, and he probably loves it there.
Well, again, the portal's open till April 30th, and now it's April 22nd.
I feel like he would have made his move already if he wanted out of there. I feel like he's pretty invested in this. He's also so young. So I think I feel like if Lincoln Riley was going to get Arch Manning, I think that would have already happened by now because Ewers was so good last year. They have to bring Ewers back. They're a top 5 team. Everything's going good there. I think everyone knew in the first window after the season that, hey, they had to take their shot at Arch, right? I would assume.
I think that things change all the time. And with the transfer portal now, you basically just have to be upright, breathing, and be in good academic standing. That's basically it. With Arch, I don't even know how much money he takes from the Texas Collective. I don't even know how much.
I think he doesn't take much.
And he gave it to charity, I thought was one of the stories that came out. Arch, it's not about the money, but I'm sure USC listen, you don't expect that where you're coming out of high school, you might have different priorities than you're 1 year in or 2 years in. So for me, Arch Manning, huge at the spring game. The portal's open. USC's right there. Coached by Lincoln Riley, you'll start right away. Yeah. Boom.
I don't think Arch wants to go in the Big Ten either really that much. I'm not sure that would be attractive to him. I think he would. I mean, obviously the natural fit would be at LSU and Alabama. And Alabama's got Jalen Milroe. And LSU, he's already turned them down like 2 times. I feel like Arch has had the same calculus in front of him for a long time. And the fact that Sark is an amazing coach, and they are going to bring in receivers galore for him, and he knows that. Probably, they're losing 2 first-round receivers this year, and they're bringing in 2 more first-rounders. Like, that's a juggernaut.
Yeah, but
he probably
USC,
likes
the
all
offense has never been the problem. The offense isn't the issue. The defense is the issue.
I feel like Arch has a better situation in Texas, believe it or not. I think by the time he's going to be 19 and taking over what will be, a wagon at that point. USC... I mean, come on. Lincoln has not really had a great couple of years there. Let's face it.
But for quarterbacks, he has. It's been just fine.
I mean, yeah. Besides Caleb Williams
going and he's far and away.
Lincoln Riley didn't do anything for that. Caleb Williams arrived ready to go. I don't think you get. Yes, he did for Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray, but that's Caleb Williams. And you're right. Lincoln Riley would be great, but Arch had every opportunity to go with Lincoln Riley and said, "No, I want to go with this guy." And I think he's even more excited about Texas now. He probably never thought, "Wow, this team's like a Final Four team." I don't even think Arch thought that. They're ahead of schedule.
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Big Easy is in. Where else? The Big Easy. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Maggie Perloff. I just want to just add to our conversation about Arch.
Yeah.
Familiar, know the family, played against the older brother. I mean, not older brother, older uncle.
Yeah.
And these are 4-year kids. He's gone there for 4 years. His sophomore year is irrelevant. He's going to start his junior year and his senior year because Mannings do not leave. You could check. You could check from the grandpa.
Know. Yep.
From the grandpa to the uncles, they don't leave. That's not the Manning way.
But Big Easy, wait, I'm curious, which uncle did you play against?
The oldest.
Peyton.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper. I guess Cooper's the oldest. No, but Cooper's not his uncle. Cooper's his dad.
Cooper was older than Cooper was my.
Right. Cooper's his dad.
I was a freshman. I was a freshman when he was a senior. So
okay, so here's I thought about that, Big Easy. Right. So Arch is. You're saying you're in New Orleans. The family, everyone always stays 4 years no matter wherever they go. But here's a question for you. Did anyone think that Arch was going to go to Texas? Because Tennessee and Ole Miss would have been the places. So he's already, the point I'm trying to make is Arch picking Texas was already like a bit of a surprise. And I think Arch is okay with kind of navigating his own way. You might be right. He might stay all 4 years, but I don't think he's afraid to go outside of what his family has done.
Yeah, well, Perloff spent the Super Bowl with his brother. I mean, with his dad. He should have first-hand experience on what type of people they are.
Yeah, that's the thing too. The other thing, Big Easy, is like he doesn't need to transfer to get an NIL deal because money is meaningless to him to some extent. Like he does feel like, I agree with Big Easy. He feels like a candidate to stay in the same place. Mm-hmm. That being said, I like Maggie's logic. It makes sense if you want to start this year. But he's he's got everything in front of him. He doesn't need to transfer, right?
Right.
Yeah, like I understand, like if you're a 5-star recruit who doesn't know what your future is, then you might want to transfer to get an opportunity. Arch doesn't need that. He's got everything all there for him.
Well, I mean, I hate to, Big Easy, thank you so much. It's great to hear from you and to add to that convo. Competitive nature.
Yeah, I just think
also.
also.
This is something you can't, if you really are a true competitor and you're good enough to start, wouldn't it eat at you? I mean, let's talk about Arch's uncles. Do you think it would eat at Peyton Manning if he knew he was just, like, maybe not as good as the starter, but was good enough to be starting and he's just going to sit? Why?
Well, I mean, it's just a long tradition. I mean, Arch is still 18. Look at his age. It's unbelievable.
He's going to be 19 at the end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, that's young. That's how college football lasted forever. There's lots of examples of guys who sat behind guys for 2-3 years and were number 1 picks. I mean, that's how it used to be for a long, long time.
No, I get it, but I think about somebody like, for example, Brock Purdy. And Brock is going to be different than Arch because Brock was Mr. Irrelevant and Arch is not going to be Mr. Irrelevant. But how much do you think being a starter for multiple years, wasn't Purdy a 4-year Didn't he have 4 years of starting?
Yeah, but Arch could easily first of all, he'd get 3 years if he wanted, but he'll probably start 2 years. That's plenty of experience.
Okay, but you could have more. You could have 3 years starting. You could have more game tape.
Yeah.
You could be even more ready to go to the pros. Nobody ever said, man, I wish I played fewer games in college because that never helped me get ready for the NFL. I think a big part of Purdy's success is the fact that he had so much college experience. He was able to step in to a situation and help San Francisco go to an NFC Championship game and then a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but for every Brock Purdy, how many successful quarterbacks that when they got to college? I assume for most of NFL history, that was the way it happened. Like, listen, Kyler Murray kind of got on the field, couldn't get on the field, disappeared for a long time, and then he ended up being the number one pick. Listen,
but
Tom
it was
Brady
different
didn't start
then,
as
though.
freshman.
I know, but it was different
then.
because
That was
you
like
had
5 years ago.
No, but you had to sit out a year. Like if you wanted to transfer, you had to sit out, and for no other reason except for the fact that you wanted to transfer, unless you were a grad transfer. The world is totally different now.
Honestly, I totally understand what you're saying, but like this is a good day in Texas because clearly Arch gets the Sark system really well.
Yeah.
And also, too, you know who caught all the touchdowns? This guy, Isaiah Bond, who came on for Alabama, who looks amazing.
Yeah, Isaiah Bond is one of the biggest catch of the year last year for Alabama in the Iron Bowl.
I feel like now the real issue to me is, does Arch get in over Ewers at some point? Because you know Quinn Ewers is a bit injury prone. Like, say there is no transfer in the next 8 days, then that's going to be the story. Like, when are they going to go to Arch? When are they going to go to Arch? Feels a little bit related to Trevor Lawrence when he was behind Kelly Bryant at Clemson. I just think that's going to be hanging over Texas this whole year. When's Arch going to get in there? You know he's going to play this year, right? That's the way football is.
Well, Ewers has gotten hurt the last 2 years, so I would expect Arch is going to be at least starting. And I guess the question is, would Arch then not relinquish the job? You're bringing up the Trevor Lawrence, Kelly Bryant thing, but Kelly Bryant wasn't what Quinn Ewers is.
He was pretty darn good, though.
He was good, but we've never heard from him. I mean, he's not. Quinn Ewers is going to the NFL.
Yeah, no, I know, but it was crazy that Trevor Lawrence got that job. It's an interesting situation. I like your USC. It's a great fit. It's hard to knock holes in that. But the thing is, we know the reality is if Arch stays at Texas, I mean, he could easily play this year. And he's going to be good. And then he just starts. Ewers goes. This is an amazing day. Why are you trying to harsh the buzz in Austin?
Harsh the buzz. I'm trying to get Arch a starting job here.
He doesn't need to start. He's fine. Arch Manning's going to be the number one pick. He is totally fine there. And I love me some Sark. There's nobody. Lincoln Riley's a great offensive coordinator. Man, Arch is going to throw 50 touchdowns with Sark and that talent pool there. It's going to be great.
855-212-4227 if you want to get in on the conversation about Arch Manning. I think in the next 8 days he should transfer to USC. He's shown he can play. Now go be with Lincoln Riley. You can beat out Miller Moss for that starting job. That would be my advice to Arch Manning. All right, coming up, we've got some news on JJ McCarthy and his draft future. We check in with the Michigan quarterback next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Oh, here we go.
Were you listening to our conversation at the break?
No.
Are we just all in the same? Are we sharing a brain? Perloff and I were just arguing about Taylor Swift in the break, and you came out with her song.
No. Okay, now we have to be really careful here. I hear the website, or used to be Magazine Paste, had a scathing review of her new album. What's it called? The Dead Poet Society or the Tribute Poet Society?
Tortured Poets Department.
Yes. Tortured Poets Department. Anyway, they had a negative review and they had to put it anonymous because they did not want the writer to get this death threats.
Gosh,
death
what are
threats
we doing?
so Swifties are now putting out death threats. I mean, first of all, if you say anything that's not nice about Caitlin Clark, you'll lose 400 Twitter followers. I know that from experience.
Only 400.
But what is the deal with Taylor Swift? Like all of a sudden, you're not allowed to write a real review of a musician because her fans are so so intense.
I think a lot of people didn't like Beyonce's last album. I did.
The country album?
Well, because I don't think people thought it was country enough, or whatever they thought. And it got a little bit of I know Rolling Stone wrote a really a negative review about Beyonce's album. So listen, I think the popular musicians are going to be in the crosshairs now. I think that Taylor's album just sounds like every other Taylor album. That would be my critique.
It doesn't sound like the popular musicians are in the crosshairs. It seems like music critics, who are their job is to fairly critique an album, they're in the crosshairs.
Well, it's all subjective. I mean,
well, the point is they're the ones who are in trouble. Nobody's going after Beyonce or Taylor Swift. They're going after the people who dare say, I don't like this music. Yeah, but they've always had music criticism since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Like Rolling Stones put out album reviews forever. Now you can't review Taylor because you're making people mad.
Also,
that's a very sad indictment of where we are.
That's true. It also is kind of funny that a Swiftie would be giving you death threats.
That's what I was
It's like
amazed at. Pace is like, we are worried about the safety of our writer. I'm like, what are a bunch of 11-year-old girls going to come down and kill this guy? What's going on?
You know as well as I do, it's not just 11-year-old girls.
Well, I said, no, my daughter went to the concert. She said, like, and the dad was like, oh my God, she was 10. She's like, her whole section was basically 10 to 15-year-old kids.
Wonder what JJ McCarthy thinks of Taylor's new album, because he's in the news. There we go.
Good
Cross
transition.
Back in.
Well, I see you're scared of Taylor Swift. You're smart. You don't want to talk about it.
No, I'm scared.
You're not going to give a review of that. You're not going to match all the songs to ex-boyfriends. You're not going to do that.
No, I'm not scared of Taylor Swift. I'm scared of the audience leaving us because we're talking about Taylor Swift. I want to go back to JJ.
Oh, yeah, right.
If she's not in the press box at Arrowhead, then
I got to tell you right now, you think JJ McCarthy is interesting to our audience more than Taylor Swift? No.
Poll question, Pat. Can you put up at Maggie Pro?
that
What are you
one
more interested in? Where JJ McCarthy is going to get drafted or reviews on Taylor's new album?
You might not want that poll up there, Maggie.
I'd love it.
You want that poll?
Yes.
I need that poll.
Let
and
me-
I just
let
want
me-
it right now. I need it.
Let me ask you, who do you find more interesting, JJ McCarthy's NFL future or Taylor Swift's recent album? Put it that way.
I love this. Because I know our audience is going to come through for me on this one.
Give it to me one more time.
Is that
JJ
Brittany?
McCarthy's NFL future?
Or
Reviews negative
of Taylor-
reviews of Taylor Swift's album.
or just reviews? Yeah. All right, Pat, you got that. At Maggie and Pearl, go vote. I'm counting on you, audience. So JJ McCarthy, here's the latest. The Michigan quarterback who has kind of been thought to be the fourth quarterback of this class with Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Drake May, and then JJ McCarthy. And then we get into Penix and we get into Bo Nix. The odds for him to go to the Washington Commanders, who picked second overall, have skyrocketed. He was at 20-1, I guess plummeted. How do you want to put this? At 20-1 and now 11-1 overnight. And a lot of this is because Jayden Daniels seemingly not happy with how the meeting went down and the visit went down with the Commanders where they brought in all the other quarterbacks. So the JJ McCarthy, I think, has become the most interesting part of this draft.
Okay.
How high can he get up, right? And how
right, but
that didn't sound right. How high will he be drafted?
Drake May is kind of like, it's a flip side too, because if he goes ahead of these guys, and then all of a sudden Drake May becomes interesting, because where would he go if not JJ McCarthy? Sort of like a domino effect to me.
I would gather that more people have watched JJ McCarthy play than Drake May play by a power of 10. And that's because Michigan obviously was one of the most fascinating teams this season with everything that was going on with the Wolverines between multiple scandals and then going on to win the title and Jim Harbaugh and everything. And they made it to the Final Four last year, too, with a thrilling loss to TCU.
Right, except more people have seen Drake May throw a football than JJ McCarthy because they did watch JJ McCarthy play football. So
yeah, he doesn't throw the ball that much.
Yeah, I think JJ
Touché.
McCarthy, it's funny, he is a buzzworthy prospect, and at the same time, not at all, because I don't think any fan base is going to be like, oh my God, we got him. We got JJ McCarthy. I think they'd be like, they're going to be wildly excited about Caleb Williams. They're going to be excited about Jayden Daniels, somewhat excited about Drake May. But I think the average fan is going to be like, that's the guy we got?
Well, I know Andrew Bogish, who is noted Giants fan, newsman first, then Giants fan second.
Correct.
Does not want JJ McCarthy in the
No,
building.
thank you.
Yeah, I think most fans are in Bogish's camp for all these teams. I think a lot of people are like, the Vikings are going to trade up for that guy?
Okay, but then where's the disconnect? Because, if you have teams that are going to triple over themselves to try to get up to 4 or maybe 3
Right.
to get JJ McCarthy, then what are we missing?
The only escape clause I would give myself on the McCarthy front is if somehow you got him in the teens.
Right.
If it somehow involved you going backwards and still land and like, oh, he's still here, but I still don't think he solves your question. But I would not be going forward to get him at 2, 3, or 4.
So, okay. So this is the expectation on McCarthy is all going to be what number he's drafted to. It could be the Vikings, but if it's the Vikings at 4, no thank you. If it's the Vikings at 12, okay.
Well, what if it's the Vikings? All they have to give up is the number 11 pick and the number 23 pick, and they don't have to give up a future first to get JJ McCarthy at 4, because 4 is a lot less valuable than 3. then it's like, we don't really need the 23 pick, right? What if you could get him for a bit of a bargain at 4? Are you okay with it?
So if you're asking me if I'm the Giants, would I do 11 and 23 for 4? My first concern would be at 11, the elite guys that I should be grabbing at 4 are not going to be there.
Oh, no. I'm just saying,
thank you on that.
Any team, if you don't have to give up a lot to get JJ McCarthy, are you not as worried about it? Is that okay?
I don't think that he is your answer. So I guess my answer then has to be don't trade for JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
I don't think the Giants, by the way, there's a lot of reporting now the Giants are not going to go that direction. Yeah, I totally agree with
They
both.
might like Drake May apparently now. That's the last thing I read last night.
But the other thing too is, like can we admit, like, we can't even argue about, I think we're all on the same page at JJ McCarthy. It seems nuts that he's going to go this high because he did not pass the ball a lot.
I know. People are like, he's a winner. So I don't even know what that means.
Are not. That's the thing. There's no people who are saying that. It feels like only NFL executives like this guy. I have not talked to another fan who's like, man, we got to get this guy high up in the draft.
Well, I mean, people in Ann Arbor and a lot of media folks who went to Michigan. But I think.
Really? I haven't even seen them.
I think the big thing for McCarthy is, he had a really good college career. People were able to explain a lot of it with a great run game and an unbelievable defense. And I think that I thought going into this process that he was going to be the Will Levis of this class. I thought he was going to be the guy who ends up falling super low. Like Will Levis, fell to the second round. I thought it was going to be late first round, and this was the guy that people were setting up to kind of have the big fall. I don't know about that now, but that was my first inclination on JJ McCarthy.
My first inclination is like he didn't have a good college career, but people see potential there.
Yeah.
So it's and it's just weird because unlike Will Levis was at a school that didn't have a lot of weapons around him. They switched offensive coordinators. Everything went downhill. Will Levis is a big physical specimen. He can throw the ball a mile. He can run. He came up as a running quarterback. What's the thing with JJ McCarthy? We've all seen him. He just doesn't look like the other guys.
Well, a couple really key third downs in some big games.
No, but when he throws the ball, I mean, listen, Jayden Daniels is electric, and Drake May is gigantic. Looks like Justin Herbert. And then you get JJ McCarthy, medium size, medium arm, medium athleticism. It's just medium. It's so unusual that this guy is all of a sudden in with these other guys. Michael Penix can throw the ball 70 yards with a spiral. We never saw McCarthy do that.
This is how polarizing McCarthy is in our chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNet. John says, I'm hoping my Giants don't draft McCarthy. Michael says, that's it for Bogish, another JJ McCarthy hating POS.
Oh, wow. That seems unnecessary.
It got a little personal. Got
Did
headline?
I write that?
Pete, is that your...
He is putting his phone down right now.
Do you have a burner account in our chat?
Beater Pilati. They'll never know who I am.
Junior.
Bogish, what's going on in the world?
No baby, another win, more millions. It's been a good Monday so far for Scotty Scheffler. He had to spend an extra night in Hilton Head to win the RBC Heritage this morning by 3 shots thanks to storms yesterday. And now he's the first since Bernhard Langer in 85 to win the Masters and then win the next event the very next weekend.
Last week was fantastic. And then coming into this week, I didn't have my usual prep work, but showed up, rested, ready to go. Got off to a slow start on Thursday, but other than that, I played some really nice golf in the middle of the tournament, and it's nice to be done.
That's courtesy of CBS Sports and the Golf Channel. This makes 4 wins in his last 5 starts, 10 victories over the last 26 months for Scheffler. Nelly Korda, meanwhile, is on a 5-event winning streak after claiming the Chevron Championship for her second career major. Korda is the 3rd in LPGA history to win 5 consecutive events. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hit the tie-breaking shot with 32 seconds left. He and the Thunder held off the Pelicans in their Game 1 last night, 94-92. The Bucks handled the Pacers without Giannis, 109-94, with Damian Lillard scoring 35 all in the first half. Rick Carlisle's team was down 27 at the break.
I'm not into moral victories at this point. We've just got to be a hell of a lot better for 48 minutes and not just 24. And we got 2 days to get it right.
Sorry, was anyone giving the Pacers a moral victory?
Yeah, I guess they were better in the second half. No thanks.
Lillard was 0 for 5 and a -22 in the second half.
Offense was not a problem in Winnipeg, where the Jets outscored the Avalanche 7-6 to open their first-round series. Then the Canucks scored 3 times in the third for a 4-2 win over the Predators. Now, back in hour 1, I played a newsworthy foul ball from yesterday's Dodgers-Mets game. This one stayed fair.
Smashes this ball. Forget about it. Marte doesn't even move. It's gone. 2-0 LA.
That's Joe Davis on Dodgers TV.
Joke's on you. Starling Marte never moves.
Not even a little bit. Shohei Ohtani's 2-run homer gave him 176 for his career, breaking his tie with Hideki Matsui for the most by a Japanese-born player. The Dodgers rolled the Mets 10-0 to avoid a 3-game sweep. The Yankees did beat the Rays yesterday afternoon 5-4. Aaron Judge went 1 for 4, raising his average to 183.
All right.
183. Yikes. That's not good if you're new to baseball.
Yeah, Judge is off to this really terrible start. I think this is the worst 21-game stretch of his career. Did I see that? Or the worst start of his season for him?
Yeah, I mean, it's sweet if you don't want to talk about this today, but let's focus more on Juan Soto being the greatest Yankee of all time. And it's just torturous for Mets fans.
Now, the question is, Juan Soto is in this amazing situation where he's in a free agent year. He's already been a World Series MVP. World Series, did he win the MVP that year? Yeah, he did.
No, I thought Strasburg did.
Strasburg won it. Okay, but he was amazing. He was 19 years old, basically, winning the World Series. So he sets up for this all-time great season. Who's going to pay him? Who's going to give him the money? Because Shohei just got 7 where in the minor league ballpark they're playing it. Shohei got $700 million over 10 years.
Yeah, but that was deferred. That was $700 million because he's not getting it now. But when you say who's going to, do you have a team? Or this is a great tease.
I'm asking.
I think
is it going to be the Yankees?
People.
I don't know if it's going to be the Yankees.
It's probably going to be the Yankees.
Wow,
I guess they have to pay him, right?
Do the Dodgers want him or no?
I mean, if the Dodgers can afford him, I'm giving up on baseball.
I mean, if they want him, what do they snap their fingers and he's in blue?
I mean, if he takes in any way, shape, or form, if he's a Dodger, then something is broken. If they have the ability to pay Ohtani and Betts and Freeman, and they gave Tyler Glasnow a lot of money, and they just gave Will Smith like a $14 million a year extension to catcher.
Don't forget the other Kikuchi.
And Yamamoto.
Yamamoto.
So if they have money left for Soto, then investigation time. Seriously.
No, we know how they made the money.
Well, they're paying
the
Major League
Padres
Baseball.
were making some noise for a little while. Then they kind of went belly up, right?
Yeah. Well, when their owner passed away, and that seemed to that changed all of their financial dynamics.
Well, with the Dodgers, you could defer money for 80 years, maybe he'll do that.
So I hate to be the one bringing this up. Are the Mets going to want somebody like that? Don't they have the billionaire owner?
Yeah, Mets want some talent. Yes.
Are the Mets going to want somebody like that? Well, I don't know.
But why? How come they're? Yeah, that should be the team targeting him, right?
Yeah, but the problem is going to be that he's going to love the Yankees so much that he's still going to stay with the Yankees even if the Mets offer more money.
See, I don't know, though.
That's my nightmare.
He's a Boris client. I think he's still a Boris client. The Yankees, they're already paying Judge a ton, who's, again, having a terrible beginning of the season. They are already paying Garrett Cole tons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll get out of the Stanton contract pretty soon, right? I don't know.
I'll give you a team, the Cubs.
Cubs could do it.
They back in the spending fray.
Cubs won't do it.
They want a star.
Do you remember when they thought that Ohtani was going to go to Toronto?
Yeah.
Remember that rumor for about 5 seconds? Also, never sleep on the San Francisco Giants. They've always got a lot.
I feel like the Rangers always make a play
and
too.
The Rangers. I don't know if it's a given he's going to be a Yankee forever. Anyway.
I was cracking up, though, you guys, the Mets fans that think that Juan Soto is going to come to the Mets. I had to laugh at a tweet that said Juan Soto's getting serenaded with MVP chants in front of 50,000 people in the Bronx while there was like 12,000 people in a rally pimp at the Mets game.
That's not
and Maggie.
And me. Yeah. I'm one of the 12,000.
Guys, we're 22 games in. Let's not give Juan Soto the MVP. What are we doing here?
He's going to go to whoever has the biggest check. He's not taking any discounts
or deferred money. Remember, Washington tried to give him deferred money, and he said
none of that. He's going to take the fattest contract he can get, and it doesn't matter where it's from. I don't think winning's going to factor into his decision.
I totally agree, and I've never met Juan Soto. I have no idea about Juan Soto. He feels like a guy who's going for the cash.
Just pay me.
Because he already has a World Series ring?
Well, it's just that he was in Washington, then he was in San Diego Yankees. The fact that he's already been on 3 teams and how old is he?
Well, he's gotten traded.
Yeah, but the point is, like, he does not seem like a one-team guy to me. He feels like he could do some shopping. And also, too, is it more logical to go for the biggest paycheck? If you guys were an MLB player, who has loyalty? There's no more Yankees mystique anymore.
You're looking at me. Nope.
I just feel like, being in New York doesn't mean anything to these guys anymore, does it?
Well, he apparently likes being in New York. That has always been a thing with him, is that he wanted to play in New York. And now he's on the Yankees getting to experience what could be the best part of New York. So if he were a Met fan hoping that a blank check got him to the Mets, this is kind of worst case scenario.
And now we're going to deal with all summer. Oh, he's spending time with his teammates. He's out at the beach with his teammates.
They were at the Knicks game on Saturday.
He was at the beach. Where, Far Rockaway?
He's walking around the Bronx, having a good time, going to a bodega.
He's at the zoo with Anthony Volpe? That's your concern?
Come on.
Are they going to be going to see the Rockettes during Christmas time?
Probably.
Just, shopping on Fifth Avenue?
Wait, hold on, Steve Cohen. Let me see the Rockettes first before I make my decision.
They might sway me. That's funny.
Former Duke guard Jeremy Roach is transferring to Baylor. Drexel forward Amari Williams headed to Kentucky. Williams, a 3-time CAA Defensive Player of the Year, a 2-time first-team All-Conference pick, one of the more popular players in the portal. And back in the NBA, the Nets have officially hired Kings assistant Jordy Fernandez as their new head coach. Wait a minute.
Back
to Maggie and Perloff.
Come on.
Only.
Don't worry, Blotti. Gary Gerald's not going anywhere. A new head coach has have no impact on who is calling the Kings game.
I'd rather them hire Gary Gerald than Nets. Come on. Go get a coach. Spend some money. Be a professional team.
What if Jordy Fernandez is the next best thing in the NBA?
It won't be.
Were you going to say like the next Phil Jackson?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
And they're not getting Donovan Mitchell. And
what if he's the next Eric Spoelstra?
They're not getting Donovan Mitchell from what we said a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to double down on that. I would make any bet on that whole thing not happening either.
Oh, any bet, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't had a Blotti versus Bogusch bet. Bogusch has been ducking the smoke.
I haven't been ducking any smoke, Maggie. Don't go back down that road.
We're all in singlets. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, because first of all, I know what not to bet on. You guys just willy-nilly I'll be naked here. Sure, it's been a while.
Listen, we're trying to get views. Are you into the clicks or not?
I will wear a Net shirt for 30 days
yes.
on this show if Donovan Mitchell goes to the Nets.
I love it.
Okay.
Are you going to... Now, we got stipulations here. It's got to be shirt next to skin. And Ken, how many washes are we giving you in this 30?
I'll wear 15 shirts, 15 Net shirts.
You're going to buy 15 Net shirts?
I'll buy 15 Net shirts.
No way.
No, I would just buy one and wear the same one over and over again.
I'm not wearing the same one over again. I'm not a pig.
Buy 2.
I'm not going to do that. I am wearing 15 different
15?
Net shirts.
like 5 would have been,
yeah,
5 would have been fine.
5 different Net shirts over 30 days.
Okay.
Do they have that much merch? I'm not trying to be a jerk.
They probably don't.
Do they have 5 different shirts?
To make my own shirt.
So what do I wear 5 Knicks shirts if he goes anywhere other than the Knicks?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have our first Bogusch v. Blotti?
He's got to change teams, though.
Wait, I don't totally understand. Like, he could get traded without his saying. Blotti, why are you so confident they won't get a package from the Nets?
Not going to the Nets.
What if the Nets trade for him, though?
The Nets can trade for him fine, but he's not going there. He's going to have a big say in where he goes.
I agree with Blotti.
Wait, you're saying like he's going to be so unhappy. He's going to say, don't trade me to the Nets. Because I feel like you're a little in a dangerous spot because the team could just be like, you're going.
No, he already did that once where the Jazz were like, you're going to Cleveland. And he willingly took the trade to Cleveland, and he's not going to do that again.
Wow. That's still risky to wear the same shirt for 15 days when you have no player control here. Okay.
I like it. Booked.
All right.
Bet booked.
Next bet involves you eating corn.
So if he
not his favorite bet.
If he changes teams, that's not the Nets. You are wearing a Knicks paraphernalia for 30 days, and I'm wearing Nets paraphernalia.
Yeah, where was that? 4 work weeks? Sure.
Paraphernalia. You're going to have to smoke weed out of a Knicks bong.
Right.
On the show.
Do it already.
Oh, you do?
That's how I get through these long days.
I think
that's a Tuesday for Bogusch.
I think we need to fine tune this bet because I do not want to see Bogusch in a Knicks jersey. I want to see Blotti in a Nets jersey.
No, we said shirts, not jerseys. Shirts.
Oh,
it's going to have sleeves.
Oh, I was thinking sleeveless.
He said shirts. Shirts, or I was thinking like
Perloff,
T-shirts.
I'm going to be honest. Do you think anyone wanted to see you in the soccer uniform? But we all just did it.
No, I know, but that was one day. That's what I'm thinking. 30 days of Knicks. I think 30 days seems a bit excessive. I hate that.
30 seconds of you in a kilt over my shoulder was excessive.
We did pixelate out the pants.
We're talking. Yes, I'm gonna clarify this right now. We're talking about shirts.
There it is.
Sure.
That's it. I'm not wearing any weird pants or any weird Zubaz or whatever. I'm not doing that.
Nets banana hammock.
None of that stuff.
You can find it in the team store. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why did you give him the out about wearing sleeves? We could have had him in a jersey, a full.
You said you didn't.
No, Bilotti. Yeah, you could have had him dressed
wear
like
a jersey.
What's that?
I might wear a jersey.
Yeah, right. Why not?
Wow.
T-shirt underneath.
Several.
The Andre Drummond look.
Several. Just multiple collars on top of each
Look
other.
like I'm
Was
in
that
a
Steve
sumo
Bannon?
outfit.
There was some moron. There was some nerd at the Knicks game on Saturday. He had a collared, like light maroon shirt with a Knicks jersey over it. Wildest look I've ever seen.
No, that's the businessman Friday Night Knicks, is the long sleeve button down shirt with the
vest.
John Starks jersey over it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought you were going to do the Wall Street wearing a vest.
Yeah,
But it looked
that's
like,
annoying.
It looked like an Abercrombie and Fitch polo from like 2008.
Were you at the game?
No.
No, you just saw it in the crowd.
Yeah, they showed him on the TV.
Was it the person who was burning the Joel Embiid jersey like a loser?
No. Somebody burnt an Embiid jersey?
Was that Joel Embiid?
Embiid wasn't in it.
Oh.
No, they were burning Embiid's jersey. At least I saw it on social media. They were burning Embiid's jersey after
That's
one
stupid.
win.
Sixers fans or Knicks fans?
No,
Knicks
Knicks fans on the steps of the Garden.
That's
I didn't
stupid.
see that one.
After game one.
Yeah.
I don't associate with those Knicks
like I
fans.
said,
No shot that
Bogus,
comes
it's-
back to bite you.
It's like your 6-year-old little cousin that is like a deviant. You just got to let him, let it unfold. You're not approving it, but just you're letting it happen.
Yeah, don't you burn a jersey when someone leaves in free agency?
Yeah.
Not when you beat. Okay, just want to make
Do you
sure.
remember how bad the jersey burning got when someone lit Gordon Hayward's jersey on fire? I was like, "Geez, guys,
What?
just
No,
let him go."
That never happened.
It did.
Someone from where?
Utah to Boston.
Someone in Utah burned a Gordon Hayward jersey?
Look it up. 855-212.
Wow.
You got to have a lot of hate in your heart.
Yeah, that's what happens when you can't have sex. You can only start burning Gordon Hayward jerseys.
Wow.
Well, it goes from none to a lot. Because if you got none, but then you have multiple wives, you can have it's old stereotypes. 855-212-4227.
Exponential growth.
Is the name of our podcast. Coming up, the one big takeaway from the NBA playoffs. We have that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, across the country on the Infinity Sports Network. We were talking about the some Knicks fans burning Joel Embiid's jersey outside of Madison Square Garden after winning one game.
So strange.
And I think burning your jersey is like the biggest loser move you can possibly do. Your opponent's jersey, maybe a former player who was on your team's jersey. You tell on yourself with how big of a loser you are when you burn someone's jersey.
Why, if you're a Knicks fan, do you have a Joel Embiid jersey? Where'd they get the jersey? Did they buy it just to burn it? What are the logistics of how this happened?
Yeah, you're right. Usually you have the jersey because it was someone who played on your team.
Right.
You wore this jersey at some point.
That's how you burn a jersey. It's got to be somebody you're mad at, but you own their jersey.
Well,
wild.
You were surprised when I reminded you that Gordon Hayward had his jersey burned when he was leaving Utah. And we're getting a little crazy here. That was many years ago. Isaiah is in Boise, has a story about this. Good morning, Isaiah.
Good morning. Yes, I had taken my kids to. It was our second basketball game, and we have to drive to Salt Lake, and we get there, and this is when Gordon Hayward's making his return after the free agency, and we're walking up, and we're seeing like a fire going on, and we're looking, and they're burning Gordon Hayward's jersey in the parking lot, a Celtics one and a Jazz one. And we were like, who is this guy who they're all mad about? We had to look it up, you know. And
the guy from Butler?
Like, oh my goodness. Every time he got the ball, it was booed. It was like, and it was just a regular season game. And my kids who were like 8 and 9 at the time, like, Dad, I really like NBA. We got to come back. It was so much fun.
It sold them on the league,
Yeah,
Isaiah.
it was awesome. It was awesome. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. That was funny. Jeez.
Yeah.
Hostile crowd in Salt Lake.
Amazing. That story, actually, you didn't remind me. I never knew that story for some reason. That just amazes me. But the Knicks fans, I mean, they're embarrassing themselves with the level of celebration after a Game 1 win when you're the 2 seed.
Listen.
I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone storm the streets. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Well, let's be honest. If it was in Philly, they'd be greasing poles or whatever.
No, for a Game 1 win in Philly, there'd be a sense of doom. Oh my God, we won Game 1, but we sucked. That's how the Philly acts. New York acted like they've just won Game 6 of the finals.
Okay, tonight, Nuggets, Lakers, Game 2, still in Denver. Are you giving the Lakers a prayer to get into this series?
I guarantee the game's going to be close and the Nuggets are going to win. No, I give them no prayer at all.
I'm telling you. They go down 0-2, the Lakers, that is. It's going to become a bigger and bigger topic. And you can say, I first heard this when Maggie and Perloff were talking about this weeks ago. LeBron James plotting his next move out of L.A. If they are getting smoked by the Nuggets, and I can't buy, we kept it close for 3.5 quarters. No, that's
get ready for that.
No one's buying that, especially when it comes to LeBron. So where's the next move going to be? Because if you're not even close to Denver with this Lakers team, I don't know how much better you're getting.
When do you get the fake LeBron injury? Was that Game 3? When does he all of a sudden pull a calf muscle or something?
No, it's like the injury he plays through to show how much of a warrior he is. Not Golden State Warrior. I mean, like a tough player.
Real question tonight. It's Knicks Sixers. Should the Sixers just sit Joel Embiid to get him healthy so he's ready for Game 3? Would you concede a game here?
No, because you could have another off night with Jalen Brunson, and then I don't know if Josh Hart's going to have the same kind of night. So no, you cannot concede.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, you might not get anything out of it. Embiid might literally die if he keeps playing this way. I mean, there's a chance.
Then you got bigger problems. If he's going to die, then he's not going to be good for Game 3 either.
Like, you didn't even make fun of him dunking, throwing an alley-oop to himself and going down in a heap.
I know. Pat pulled the audio, and I never even played it. Ugh, I'm the worst.
I think, this is not good. This is not a good health situation.
Thank you so much to Pat Boyle, who's done a fantastic job over the last 2 shows. We appreciate you so much. Thank you to Pete Bellotti, Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan, Guidos, Coffee Drinkers, everyone in the chat. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.